Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We are back after almost a full month of waiting. It's time for NAISCC Track Racer Cup Series racing action. And tonight, it's a special one. It's the Norse Designs Throwback 200 at Nashville Fairgrounds. And tonight is going to be a very wild night. A little bit of a smaller car count than what we usually have seen in this series, but I think it's got to be coming from the holiday season. A couple of drivers still trying to recover after the holidays, and for us up at the booth, we're still trying to recover ourselves. As hold on a moment for the visual side of things, as we're going to have a little bit of a blip. The cars are going to go white for a quick moment as we got to load in and make sure the schemes are right so you can see the throwback schemes yourselves. But like we were saying, recovery for some of the drivers from last night's event. If you got to see it live, thank you for being a part of our first annual charity race, that of the 6 hours of Daytona for diabetes, where we were donating and charitying and getting money for that of the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation. Thank you to everyone that was a part of that event. If you go back and rewatch, you will also be able to see the description and throughout the chat. If you rewatch those 6 hours, or at least just small little snippets, you'll be still able to donate for yourself. But we're recovering. Some of the drivers were part of that event racing. And so for us, we're excited to be covering all of the action. It's going to take a little bit while. Yes, you've seen the cars go white. Some of the drivers, it's going to take some time for the schemes to properly load in, and then we will be seeing the throwback schemes. So for everyone here, thank you for being patient with us. But it's been a while, so that means we got to go through some of our usual sponsors that we haven't really talked about in a while. Starting off, they are going to be our series sponsor, that a Track Racer Refined Gaming. If you're trying to get yourself started and beginning to make a custom rig, a racing simulator rig, or finish off your racing rig, Track Racer is the best place to go for yourselves. So go get yourself a finish off your, I should say, your racing rig with Track Racer Refined Gaming. And as well, you see in our sponsors being thrown around, you see that at the Simbox store. You really push our buttons. The Simbox store, one of the best places to get quality, craftsmanship, affordable, also that purposely built for all sim games. The Simbox store has provided the game industry with the best bang for your buck sim boxes for nearly 2 years. And you can get yourself the classic color schemes are still available, but this year they're launching multiple different schemes and colors that you can put together and have the best performance and best looking sim box for your rig. If you would like to go get yourself a sim box from the Simbox store, you can go to eBay, Facebook, or even Amazon and go buy yourself a Simbox store. Very excited. And as well, at some point in 2022, they will be launching their own website at www.simboxstore.com. And if you use the discount code FreakyFast, you can get yourself 10% off at the Simbox store. You really push our buttons. Tonight's going to be a fun night. 200 laps here of, we don't know yet what we're going to see. Drivers, we're talking about it for the past couple of weeks, how this track is going to be slick, very hard to handle. So we could be seeing a lot of cautions, but less than a minute before qualifying. So the drivers are trying to get as much practice as possible before things get crazy. But joining me here tonight is going to be that of Robert Moyer Jr., who's also going to be running productions. My name is Sam Dyer, and Robert, tonight, a little bit different. It's been a full month of racing action. Last time we saw these drivers was at Las Vegas, where we saw Nick Crawford finding himself in victory lane. But we are starting off our 2 weeks here at Nashville, first at the Nashville Fairgrounds.
That is correct, Sam. Welcome everybody here to tonight with the NAISCC Cup Series here at Nashville Fairground. Man, this is going to be a fun race. Like you said, we've been off for a month with these guys. They've been off for a month. They did have an all-star race in between the holidays there, but they basically took off for a little bit and now getting ready to rock and roll, finish out the rest of the season as practice comes to an end here. But like you noted there, Sam, we're going to see this all the way through to the end of the race. And you can see right there with Mark Whitley, they've been saying that this place is bumpy. exiting out of the turns, and ice. Just feels ice, like there's no grip in the track. So we'll have to see how this all plays out for these guys as they get ready to roll into qualifying.
Qualifying's going to get started, and it's going to be that of Mark Whitley starting off here. Going to be on the inside. This track, a little bit more than a half a mile in length, and it's going to be very slick, even with it being cooler temperatures. Usually cooler temperatures mean the tire wear not going to be as bad. But for a lot of these drivers, excited to see how they're going to tackle. And we said it was throwback night. And you see a couple of throwback schemes that these drivers are putting on. I think that's going to be the fun thing for us, Robert, is seeing some of the schemes the drivers are running. As you saw there, the 5, that was Dakota Moniz running a Terry Labonte Catalog's Frosted Flakes scheme. And also other drivers deciding to run throwback schemes of their older schemes that they used to run in previous seasons. So excited for tonight on all the different runners that we're going to be seeing as times are being put down. Top of the board currently of the 3 drivers immediately going to be that of Dakota Moniz with that of a 19.039 second lap time. And you look at some of the drivers during practice, shouldn't be the fastest driver here. And as I say that, you start seeing Dakota being pushed down as Mark Whitley and others start to topple the top of the board.
Speaking about these throwback schemes here, Sam, I like a lot with that Terry Labonte scheme. That scheme looks pretty cool. Remember back in the old days with Terry Labonte, and I have flashbacks. We're at a short track here, basically here at Nashville, but I remember that scheme there. When he ran it back in the day, and especially at Bristol, when he got involved with a couple things there at the end of the race. It's a flashback. That's my era. That's my time.
Yeah, that was around the time that I was starting to really get into NASCAR, was around that Terry Labonte scheme, also seeing the Cat scheme, all the different, and, for some drivers, such as that of James Loveland, running different schemes that are also incorporating their current sponsors that they're running. That's, I think, the more fun thing about iRacing and the fact that it is virtual is that you can take these throwback schemes, add the sponsors that you've been rocking all year long with also the merger of classic looking cars.
That is, yeah. I mean that's correct there, Sam. And as we're watching Loveland here in that V-Speed machine, that's a broadcaster he supports. Adams actually is his name, that owns that business there, which puts on good products here for broadcasting on the iRacing side of things. But you know it, man. So we're in the Gen 6 cars at Nashville. What are we expecting here, Sam? Are we we're gonna have a little bit of dirty air? What are these guys gonna be battling, you think, throughout the night here? What's gonna be the most thing that these guys are gonna have to deal with throughout the night?
The biggest thing's going to be the restarts and also the exit of the corners. These drivers and these cars have so much power underneath them that when you get into the throttle, that wheel, the wheel spin that you're getting, the traction, it just wants to turn the car and spin out immediately on the exit of these corners. And also the wheel spin on these restarts could get your car not always pointing straight when you get onto the power, which could be getting you into the outside wall or even into another driver. So those are going to be the main 2 factors. And also avoiding big wrecks. Drivers, this is going to be a very narrow course at times. Once you get into a wreck, that you could be seeing a lot of carnage if there's a driver spinning out up ahead of the field. So that's going to be another factor for them to watch out for. But I think it's going to be wheel spin and loose sensations. They're going to be the big things, Robert, tonight. These drivers are going to have a handful from start to finish.
Oh, we'll have to see how these gentlemen play it out here tonight here at Nashville as we're still watching everybody get their qualifying laps in. We still got a minute to go here, and we still got people clicking on the board here as we're going to see here Ryan Lewis here in the 41 machine. He's getting ready to come out and see if he can do his lap. But right now, sitting on the board here is surprise, Mark Whitley with an 18.56 with surprise. Yeah, look who's behind him. Sora there in the 18.665. So, I mean, these 2 guys, we know the history. We know what happened. We'll have to see how this all plays out here tonight. Do they play nice? Do they play dirty? What are you thinking, Sam?
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a big thing. If you've been watching Monday nights in the NAISCC Race Car Graveyard Truck Series, you've seen it's been Mark Whitley, Vincent Sora dominating in the trucks Monday, but they've also been taking each other out a lot, building up this rivalry. And coming in tonight in the Cup side of things, this is kind of where the rivalry started last season. These drivers were in the playoffs battling with one another, and they made a lot of contact, ruffling up one another, and we'll see if they can keep it kind. But Robert, you and I both know short track racing, you might have to use the chrome horn if you want to get things going. But we'll take a look here at where the driver is going to start here at the beginning of tonight's race. Starting off in the pole position, it's going to be Mark Whitley with Vincent Soar to his outside. Then it's going to be former teammates that are Brian Johnson and Cedric Hunter going to be side by side for row number 2. Tom Sinchek and Kyle Rochelle coming in for row number 3. And in 7th and 8th place is James Loveland, Jonathan Pittman. 9th goes Aaron Kralik, and as well, Danny Cochran going to be finishing out your top 10 here tonight.
All right, starting 11th here tonight, it's going to be Thomas Walters there at number 57 with Moniz in the 5, starting 12th with Ryan, 13th, James Trimble in 14th, Maurice and yeah, did I say it right? No, I didn't say his right name. Oh, well, anyways, 44 starting in 15th place. We got Ethan there starting in 16th with Lewis in that 41. He's going to round out down there, wow, with a really slow time here. And then we have Max, which we seen last night. We talked to him last night in our endurance race that we had, and they had a great run last night in that there. He's going to start in 18th position here tonight, Sam.
Yeah, that of also Sean Hutt-Stutler and Adam Westfield going to be finishing out your 20 cars here tonight. And he did get it right. It was Maurice Gomillion in the 44. So you did get it right. So all these drivers are going to be they're going to be excited. And yeah, you know it on it. Max Boner coming off a great night last night. It's his team with Ryan Lewis and Max Motorsports getting second place at our 6-hour endurance race. Again, that's our 6 hours at Daytona for diabetes. And what a night it was, Robert. And we're hoping tonight puts on just as good of a show that we saw last night, as it was chaotic and great hard racing all night long. And we hope that we've rested enough. Hopefully some of the drivers that were part of that event rested enough as well. Because it's going to be hectic here tonight. Short track racing for 200 laps. Stage 1 going to be on lap 75. No fast repairs, 4 sets of tires in pit road, and all the pressure to make sure that you can finish well. This is race number 10 of the season. You've got tonight, next week at Nashville Super Speedway, and then we're also going to be finishing off the regular season going 1.5 mile racing at that of Homestead. Then we get to playoff action. The drivers are recognizing it's go time here. But Robert, got one more pace lap. What are you expecting to see here tonight?
What am I expecting to see here tonight? I really don't know, Sam, to be honest with you. I haven't caught a Nashville race in a long time. I don't even think I caught a Nashville Fairgrounds race. I might have one of them, but I don't know what we're going to see out here tonight. I'm achieved just like all the viewers out here to exactly see what's going to happen, and we'll know within the first 5 to 10 laps how this race is going to play out. Are they going to be loose? Are they going to be all over the place? Are they going to be up against each other? You know, things like that. But we're getting ready to go green, ladies and gentlemen, and we are going to send it over to Sam to send us off to the green flag.
It's short track racing time. North Star Designs Throwback 200 is green. It's Mark Whitley, Vincent Sora on the loud pedal, and they are now heading into turn number 1. Short track racing, and Vincent Sora getting the better launch as he's coming out of the corner. That outside line is going to be very surprisingly quick as you see the 15 able to stretch and get ahead going into turn number 3.
As we got side by side there with Brian Johnson of Cat 5 right now, as he's going to fall there in the 4th place, maybe try to take 3rd place for Mark Whitley. And like you said there, Sam, right now it looks like that high line is going to be the dominant line. Mark Whitley is stuck down there on the bottom with Kyle Rochelle right behind him, and he's going to slide up into turn number 3 here right behind Brian Johnson. As, we've seen Cedric Hunter get a little loose there, and right there's a prime example. You get loose and you check up the whole field, and everybody's got to figure out a way around you there.
A great move by seeing that Kyle Rochelle and also Brian Johnson. We could force it 3 wide, but you're already seeing a little bit of shimmy from the 1. That outside of turn 2 is going to be the most dangerous place of this track all night long. It doesn't matter how much your tire wear is. If you finally have gotten heat, it is going to be constantly loose, and you got to be patient on getting back into the throttle. Do want to give note, Ryan Lewis was supposed to be their 20th driver starting out tonight's race. He did not be able to start the race off. He is in pit road and has been staying in pit road. We'll see if the 41 wants to get out on track. But 19 drivers racing currently, and Vincent Sora up front and has led every single lap so far. Mark Whitley in second, but Whitley's going to be careful as we're side by side for this, the battle currently for 4th place. Out of Kyle Rochelle, Cedric Hunter, side by side, but the one machine gets loose, spinning it around, and watch out to the field as the one luckily locks down the brakes and didn't hit anything.
And that's the key right there. Kyle Rochelle, he started spinning it around. He knew instantly that he was not going to save that there, Sam. So he just left it slide slowly. You can see it in like slow motion sliding. We'll go back and watch the replay, but he slid up the track, not down the track. So that's a good sign. I mean, if you're on the high side, you're going to slide. You're going to stay up there, and you're not going to come back down in traffic.
Oh, absolutely. As we're going to take a look here at this replay, and you're going to see the one gets close to the outside wall and just immediately, right on the entry of the corner, just put too much wheel input in, and the rear end just wants to snap loose and immediately, like you said, locks down the brakes and just knew he wasn't going to save it. There's a lot of drivers that will try to save it at that moment, but I've got to say, great call by the one. I think for a lot of drivers, they've got to really think about, do I want to save this car or just make sure I don't hit anything, especially because there's no fast repairs. If you get any damage, you're dealing with that damage all race long. Even though it's short track racing, you do not want to get any type of damage. It could loosen this car up more or it can help and tighten it. So you got to be willing to decide what damage you want, as we are now 8 laps into this race. Vincent Sora, Mark Whitley, Brian Johnson, Cedric Hunter, and Tom Sinchek going to be your top 5 currently. But this is the type of race that we were expecting to see, of a little bit of green flag racing, maybe a caution coming out. Kind of surprised, though, that it was a single car spin that brought out our first yellow.
Yeah, it's kind of shocking there, Sam, but we'll see how it all plays out, because, you know, it's one thing Kyle probably now recognizes. After self-spinning it like that, he probably instantly said in his brain, don't do that again, and don't hit the gas pedal at that point in time, or hit the brakes that hard at that point in time. You know what I mean? He did learn something, you know, so hopefully he can apply that and it doesn't happen again, unless, you know, the tires just get angry at him and then says, I don't care what you say, we're going to go around. Because this is a very, very bumpy track, too. You can see, and we'll get a close-up shot of these cars here, Sam, here once they get going around here on the track. And you will, ladies and gentlemen, you'll see how bumpy it is in the corner exits. It's not smooth. It is bumpy. So, you know, you're trying to get back on the gas pedal, but at the same time, as that rear end's bouncing around, it is uplifting that car off the track. And if you hit that bump just right and you're back on the gas just right, well, guess what happens? The car goes around.
Yeah, and that's why when you see these drivers finally get single filed out on the entry of the corners, they're going to start high and try to make an arcing move, as there is a very large dividend bump on the entry low end on the shallow part of this course. So you got to be careful of the entries that you want to make. And that's kind of why, you know, the inside lane, it is great for saving the tires. You're running a lot slower. You're not putting as much heat onto the rear right tire. But when you're on the outside, you're so quick, you're so fast, you're putting down some fast laps, but you're also wearing down your tires just as fast as you're putting down these tires. But pace car is off. We're getting back to green flag racing. Lap number 11 is how we start things off, and Vincent Sora on the loud pedal, and we are green into turn number 1. Mark Whitley, as well as that of Cedric Hunter, going to be side by side coming out of turn number 2. The 13, great launch for himself, and once again, 77 has to battle on the inside.
Yeah, I just don't think that's where you want to be here tonight, Sam. The inside line just doesn't seem to be the place you want to be right now until they get grip down there. And I'm sure once they get some tire, and because you can see it right there. Woo-hoo! Hang on to it, ladies and gentlemen. He almost took that thing around. Great wheel handling there, man. He manhandled that car, Sam.
Oh, absolutely. And I think the big thing for Mark Whitley, you're saying the fact that he doesn't want to be down there. Yeah, he doesn't want to be, but on the restart, on the beginning part, when he got the pole position, he tried the inside line, got trapped there, and then was forced again by Vincent Sora. But now we're starting to see a little bit more speed. Back here in 6th place, you find that of Tom Sinchek running, and behind him, that's where the Hornet's Nest is. Danny Cochran and Aaron Kralik, as well as Jonathan Pittman. drivers that are trying to run as well as they can, but also side by side, got to be careful not to get too loose out of the corner. And there goes the 21, excuse me. He got loose and was able to hold on.
I'll tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, I think all night you're going to hear me and Sam go, ooh, ah, ooh, all night, because these guys are slipping and sliding, and even the chat's talking about it, Sam. It's ice out there. It's slipped. They're even saying they think there's banana peels out there. I mean, honestly, I think once the track gets a little bit cooler and they get some grip down here and get these tires warmed up a little bit, from what the look I'm seeing it right now, yeah, it's slippy, but these guys are handling it pretty good, if you ask me there, Sam.
Oh, they absolutely are. And I think right now, for a lot of these drivers, it's find that comfort zone. Once you put enough heat in the tires, especially with the way that this track temp is currently, track temp is 75 degrees Fahrenheit for the track, ambient temperature 73 degrees. So it's a cooler night. Luckily, it's nighttime, so it's allowing these drivers to have a little bit more grip that they can try to hold on to. It's now all about that throttle control, getting back into the throttle and trying to make some moves. As you see here, that of Dakota Moniz trying to get onto the outside lane and try to get a good launch for himself as we ride on board with the 5. Yes, it's the Cowlogs basic scheme that you're expected to see for Frosted Flakes, but hey, there's a doggo on the hood of that Dakota Moniz as he go into turn number 3.
Well, you know how these guys are here at the Cup Series. They're serious on their paint schemes, but there's always that little twitch in there. They always have something that they have to put a funny in there, and that's great. I mean, they got a sense of humor of life, and that's awesome. I mean, that's definitely what you want to see here, ladies and gentlemen. You know, it's fun, and these guys are battling hard, but yeah, you can see out here right now, he's back here running in 10th position. And before I hand it back over to you, Sam, I do want to ask the chat out there that everybody's tuning in. I normally don't broadcast too much as talking-wise. Normally I have people up in the booth, but tonight it's me and Sam Dyers up here in the booth with these Cup guys, and I need to know as, we have a car spinning around there, and caution flag is out, and it looks like that's going to be on lap 20 of James Loveland. Looks like he spun it there, Sam.
Yeah, coming out of turn number 4, just got back into the throttle and had to lock that car down. And luckily, again, drivers that are having self-spins, not overcorrecting, deciding to just let the car drift on its natural progression and just lock down the brakes so they don't get into the inside wall. As you're going to be seeing here from the 56, running that middle lane, but once he gets to the throttle and into the power, maybe a little bit too soon into the gas and too aggressively, he gets spun around, but locks on the brakes, luckily here, just before getting to the wall and finding Loveland to be just enough space to get himself straight and out of trouble.
And that's 2 vehicles now that self-spun, didn't hit nothing. So, I mean, wow. I mean, you got to give it to that. You know, at least if you're gonna wreck, at least you're wrecking yourself and nobody else out on the track. I mean, that's a good thing, if you know, as we all know. But you can just see how, you know, we were good 15, 20 laps into that run again, and even with warm tires, they're still dealing with the slick track. And we're going to say this all night, ladies and gentlemen. It's just going to be slick. But what I wanted to get to real quick is please let me know if I'm too loud on the stream, or what I need to adjust. If I need to bump my mic up a little bit for you, or bump it down a little bit if it's too high pitch, please let me know if it sounds good, because like I said, normally I don't do talking, Sam. Normally I'm back here running the cameras and doing everything I need to do. So I'm double stinting here tonight after we had a grueling, awesome 6-hour event last night. We were dead beat. I tell you that much, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, we were dead beat after last night. And then also we're just riding on a high of the fact that it was a successful night. We were discussing all the stats and all the statistics from the night that came together, and it just was incredible to see. And also, I think the big thing that was so incredible about last night, again, we were raising money for Juvenile Diabetes and Research Foundation, was the fact of how many people actually donated and how much was donated. It was crazy, the amount of number. I mean, coming into the night before we even went green, we had about $800 just from the drivers. And Robert, I don't know if you've got the number exactly on the amount or the rough estimate of the amount, but we cracked over $1,000, which I think blew our minds more than the fact that we had so many teams come on board for last night's race.
As of right now, I do not have the total number of what we have, but yeah, I mean, I think we're between 1,000 to 1,300 that we raise for the juvenile diabetes. So, we owe it to all these drivers here at NAICC, the Cup and Truck, all the leagues that we have, and all the new leagues that got coming up here, and everybody who was in that race. We had a milestone, just put you that way here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. We are over 1.2K views on that stream. So if you haven't went and watched it, I know it's a long race. Split it up in sections. Watch 2 hours of it, then go do something. Come back and watch, because, YouTube has that auto stop that it can stop it and you can resume wherever you left off at. But we're getting ready to resume here on lap 27 here of 200 with the NAISCC Cup Series as they're getting ready to go back green. As we got Danny Cochran and Vincent Soar. Brian Johnson's going to take off into second place here, Sam.
Yeah, Vincent Soar going to have a great launch for himself with Brian Johnson following suit. Then he got that Cedric Hunter, Thompson Check, Jonathan Pittman, and Danny Cochran going to be the drivers in line, side by side, battling currently for that of fourth place. Do want to give note, Mark Whitley, who is up front, he now is going to be careful because drivers slipping and sliding again. James Loveland going to be involved in our third caution of the night. And also was going to tell you the fact that we did have some drivers further back decide to come into pit road. Mark Whitley, Max Boner, they both got tires and were just around this incident. Luckily, we're not involved, but this is going to be a big wreck for these drivers as we see on this Freaky Fast replay. Watch out for the 94. That is going to be Sean Hutzstutler. He does not get a good launch out of the corner and is going to be taking out James Loveland here on this incident. Comes out, gets bumped by Whitley, and away they go. And that's just an aggressive hit as well. Collecting into that one was going to be the 88 of Adam Westfield. But Robert, first real big incident with damage being ensued.
Yeah, unfortunately, and like you said, Mark Whitley's lucky. They just came down and did a pit stop and just made it through that one there. And we were only 29. No, what were we? 27 laps into the race, and we had some people come down and make a pit stop. No, they pitted on lap 22. Is what I'm showing here, Max. So lap 22. That's kind of early, don't you think? I mean, are they struggling that bad on the tires here tonight that they got to pit on lap 22? Or what do you think the game plan is to try to pit early and maybe leapfrog the field when we have that stage caution?
I think that's another thing is to worry about the leapfrog, but we're in this first stage. Stage one will come to a conclusion at the end of lap 75, but the drivers did have a lot of sets of tires to work with. They've had 4 sets in pit road. Already one set going to be utilized by that of Mark Whitley and Max Foner. In the pits currently is that of James Loveland, Hutzstutler that are getting repairs done for being involved in that wreck. But taking a set back on lap 22 with that second caution of the night, I kind of like the call. You've got a lot of sets to work with. I think really with 200 laps, a lot of these drivers could have ran with just one extra set in pit road for the way that this race might go down. So if you got an extra set, take that advantage. Come to pit road. You see a sense of, do I have a large advantage or is it really not worth the risk? And it is a risky call going back into traffic and dealing with, as Mark Whitley was the initial kind of catalyst getting into that of Sean Hutzstutler, but still going to be taking a lot of knowledge from this restart. Also want to give note, our first DNF of the night is going to be that of Aaron Kralik, who got disconnected from the session. So we'll see if the 0-1 gets reconnected or if we're going to be just racing it out, which is 18 drivers on track. Well, technically 16 drivers on track now, with 2 still getting major repairs of Loveland and Hutzstutler.
Unfortunately for Loveland there, he had that self-spin by himself, and then he turns around and then he has another spin. So unfortunately for him there, but we'll see how that all plays out for him. He's going to get fixed, but we're going to get ready to go back green here, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see how this all plays out.
Going to be that of Vincent Sora, Brian Johnson, Cedric Hunter, Tom Senchek, Danny Cochran going to be your top 5, with Jonathan Pittman, Thomas Walter, and as well Dakota Moniz, Kyle Rochelle, and Maurice Gomillion going to be your top 10. Drivers are set. They're ready to go. Pace car pulls off It's time for the North Star Designs Throwback 200 here at Nashville Fairgrounds. We are green once again at the start of lap 33, and Vincent Sora, he's figured out those restarts already. That outside line's so powerful, but it's going to be the battling currently for that of third place. You got to watch out for it. Here comes the run from Jonathan Pittman trying to make the pass, but up front it is all Vincent Sora.
Right now, Vincent Sora's leading the pack, but right now, back here with James in that number 20 there, and Dakota in that number 5, I'm telling you, Sam, these guys are battling side by side and battling it hard with everybody else in the back here, too. We got Thomas back here trying to battle. Ethan Smith is trying to work his way up through the field here in that number. Actually, he's supposed to be in the number 00, but he's in the 88 on in the car. So on our ticker, he is actually the 00 here. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, they asked on YouTube. Yeah, there is 2 88s, as this is a throwback scheme night. So he just picked that old Dale Jarrett UPS machine there.
Yeah, went with the old scheme. Kind of forgot you needed to change up the numbers on it, but hey, we love to see the throwbacks and all that they are. Max Foner now going to be ducking it down to the inside, and Max, like we noted on those older, took newer tires for himself. We now move up to the battling up front as it is chaotic here, side by side for the battling that was going on for for that 4th place back to 8th, and they are still hounding one another as Cedric Hunter now being hunted down by that of Pittman and also Kyle Rochelle.
Kyle Rochelle's going to try to go up on the high side as Pittman's going to be looking on the outside of that Hello Kitty machine, number 13 of Cedric Hunter. And we'll see how he all plays out. And he looks like he finally gets it cleared there. But look who's moving up through the field slowly but surely after having that pit stop there is Mark Whitley. He is moving his way up to 10th position right now. And he's looking very strong now back here, and even in the dirty air. And we got Ethan going around, it looks like. And does he save? Oh, he doesn't save it, Sam. Unfortunately, we have a yellow. It looks like he had a little love tap there.
A little bit of a love tap from that of Max Foner, as we're going to see on the replay. But I got to say, for the 88 on track, as you can see in the UPS, but the 00 on our ticker, Ethan Smith, the one of 2 rookies that we're supposed to be racing here tonight, the only rookie that is on track. And Ethan Smith going to get some help. He spun around, but luckily didn't hit the wall even with the spin, so he's going to be all right. As now more drivers going to be coming to the pit road, as this is the halfway of our stage. Again, stage 1 at the end of lap 75, so still a lot of racing here in stage 1, and only the top 5 get those stage points. This could be very massive for drivers that are coming in, trying to either get repairs, get some tires, try to get any advantage they can, because playoffs, Robert, are right around the corner. We've got 2 more races after this before we get to playoff racing action.
Yeah, 2 more races, ladies and gentlemen, and then things are going to get heated up here. And the defending champion of last season is Cedric Hunter there. Battled it out with his former teammate here, Brian Johnson, even though they're allies, and they're still teammates here. But unfortunately, we did not get that replay of Ethan. Our software did not trigger it, as every once in a while, our software don't trigger stuff like that, Sam, because it sees him going off track. It is a yellow, but it doesn't see it as a yellow. It's hard to explain, ladies and gentlemen, but it is what it is. But yeah, 2 more races to go here, and we're going to get ready to battle it out for the playoffs here to see who's going to be this season's championship. And you can see on the ticker pylon of the drivers that did show up here, Brian Johnson's in blue with Tom Simchek's in blue. Them 2 drivers got wins. Everybody else in this field do not have a win yet here in this season. So can Vincent Sora finally break that streak there, Sam, and finally beat these guys and get a win, because he's been a top 5 vehicle all season long till the end of the race, and it just seems everything falters down the tree.
Yeah, for Vincent Sora, tonight's going to be the best opportunity for himself to get a win. And this is such a long streak for himself. It is all the way back to season 2 for this league, as we are currently in season 4, when the 15 was last in victory lane. And that was before, Vincent Sora had to worry about Category 5 that came in for Season 3. Then they got, removed from one another and had to be transformed into 2 different teams, back to 9 and also Category 5. And I got to say, for Vincent Sora and for a lot of the drivers out here that were getting wins previously, they had to really step their game up, get better each and every week, put in the time in the practice, and it is shown here of late of the speed that they've been able to put in on Monday nights as well here for Saturdays. As the drivers up front are going to be Vincent Sora, that of Brian Johnson, Tom Sinchek, Danny Cochran, and also that of Cedric Hunter going to be your top 5. Pace car is in, and we are green once again in the 15 machine. The outside line, Robert, it's just so powerful. And here comes Danny Cochran going to be trying to follow suit with the 15 machine. And that coming out of turn number 2, it's going to be side-by-side action for second place.
And we can see Danny Cochran right there in that number 2 machine working the high side. And it looks like on the restarts, the high line is where you want to be there, Sam. But then eventually it looks like that low line starts to equal out about 2-3 laps into it. As you can see, Brian Johnson finally working his way around that number 2 machine. But, man, that 2 got a little bit loose coming out of there, out of turn number 2 there.
Yeah, it's all about finding that true balance of when you can get back into the throttle coming off of these exit of the corners. But the side-by-side racing, it is heavy for 6th place. As you got Cedric Hunter and Dakota Moniz going to be battling with one another side-by-side. And as well further back, you're seeing drivers trying to get aggressive on one another. And it's just you got to pick and choose. Where do you really want to place yourself if you're going to be making some big moves? As you're seeing them all trapped in where they want to be. Kyle Rochelle, we're riding on board with, he wants to split that of the 21 and the 51, but there's just not enough space. As you can see, already ruffled up on the rear end is the 21 of Pittman, and Pittman, an inside row, starting to get a little bit more momentum as the run goes on. And this is when things can get tricky when you're this jam-packed. And once again, Kyle Rochelle right on the back quarter panel, almost pushing the 21 around. Wow,
he almost just ran that 21 over. And this is just reminding me, I know it's Nashville, but it reminds me of a small Daytona. As look out, Mark Whitley from the top to the bottom. Cedric Hunter says, "Oh, no, you don't, sir." And now we got Kyle looking up on the high side. And, man, what a traffic jam we got going on here. Now, this reminds me of a small Bristol, just not as banked as hard as Bristol.
Yeah, it's really close to that of Bristol, the way these drivers have to attack this course. And they're almost 3 wide coming out of the corner, and Kyle Rochelle's got to back out of it, which is now going to give a Pittman a chance to dive bomb, but decides otherwise. I think it's a smart move as caution's going to fly. Drivers further back going to be spun around as smoke flares up, and it's going to be that of Max Foner as well as Ryan Ferraro. They're going to be the 2 drivers involved in this one.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it looks like Max Foner, he called it and just towed his vehicle right into pit road. So we'll have to see if he's going to get that thing fixed and come back out, or if he's going to call it a night here, Sam.
Yeah, we've already seen multiple drivers, multiple laps down. So if you can get back out there quickly, it should be all right. See on the replay, side by side in the 12, just coming up too close and into the 51. Both go into the outside wall, and that's just a lack of awareness on where the drivers are around you and bringing out a yellow in a spot that you really don't want to see a wreck happen. But like you said, there you see Max taking the toe to pit road. It's going to take him a couple of laps to finally get himself onto pit road. And we'll see if he can get going once again. Again, no fast repair. So whatever damage you get, you are dealing with. You got to spend in pit road in time to get the repairs.
Unfortunately, with no, fast repair. They did have a fast repair at the beginning of the season there, Sam, but then they finally said, you know what, we're not going to have a fast repair. We got to clean up some of these events that we're having here. And when they took that fast repair out, it changed the mindset of every single driver. Start racing smart, start racing clean, and think about the moves you do before you do them. And I got to give props to the admins for making that hard decision call, but in the long run, it was the best call, if you ask me.
Oh, absolutely. And that was that change of having a fast repair to not having a fast repair was after race number 5 at Pocono, where there was a lot of carnage during that race. And that was such an emotional race for Tom Sinchak, who got his win and a tribute win to his friend who had passed away. And then the next week went to Dover, decided to make the change, and it has been a lot of clean racing. I think Las Vegas a month ago now, which is crazy to think. That was probably one of the more biggest wrecks that were happening, but it's still very clean racing. I think all the drivers knew, though, coming into tonight, there was a very high possibility of there being more cautions being brewed up just because of the nature of short track racing. So this really isn't a surprise on how many yellows we've had as we're 54 laps in. Still that of Vincent Sora, Brian Johnson, Danny Cochran, Tom Sinchek, and Mark Whitley going to be your top 5. And since we're under a caution break, gives us time to talk about some of our amazing sponsors. Start things off with Advanced Sim Racing. We talked about Track Racer and getting yourself, set up with a racing rig. Well, for everything that Track Racer can't get you and more, go to Advanced Sim Racing. They can get you set up, as they are one of the biggest growing that of chassis sim racing chassis, as well as retail online stores for sim racing. Go to advancedsimracing.com. Go use our promo code FreakyFast5 for 5% off. If you're looking for a steering wheel or more to get yourself into sim racing, go to Advanced Sim Racing, and thank you for sponsoring us at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. As the drivers stacked up, ready to go, Vincent Sora, Brian Johnson, Tom Sinchek, Danny Cochran, and Cedric Hunter are going to be your top 5. Mark Whitley has moved up to 6th, but can he gain any more positions? We'll see on this restart as the pace car pulls off. The 15 ready to roar as the green flag is out. They're taking off already, and just like that of Vincent Sora has already got a car length ahead of that of Brian Johnson.
You can see Brian Johnson, he's going to work his way up to the high side here, and we see Danny back there in that number 2. He's trying to work, but right now, we're going to be looking 3 wide. There's Mark Whitley in the back there, but Mark decides to back it out and says, nope, not right now. I think it's a smarter move there, Sam.
Oh, absolutely. Going to be a lot of a smart move there from the 77. Now going to be just in line. It's going to be side-by-side for 3rd place. Danny Cochran, Tom Sinchek, and then also further back, you find that is Cedric Hunter and Mark Whitley side by side, but they're getting loose heavy. Mark Whitley has trouble, and Cedric Hunter into the outside wall. Pittman and others all pile in. It's going to be the big one, and finally the yellow one flies. Over 5 drivers involved in that one. Most were able to drive away, but there goes, like I was noting on the beginning of the broadcast, if there's a wreck up front, multiple drivers can be collected later on.
That is correct, as we'll go back and see if we can find this yellow here, so see if we can find it, as we're waiting for the instant replay to load up here, I do believe, and we'll see what we can find out. I think it all started up with Cedric Hunter, I do believe. Oh yeah, did Mark Whitley get into Cedric Hunter?
There was a chance of that happening, as we're going to take a replay even further back, and yeah, you could see, kind of got the run, tried to force the issue, and Cedric Hunter gets the brunt of it with hit the quarter panel, and just that small of a bump is what can get a car that loose. Pittman nowhere to go. Once the 13 gets into the wall, just comes to a dead halt. The 21 piles in, and then after the contact, gets brushing down into James Trammell, and Ethan Smith somehow could have been collected in that one, but slides away, and other drivers also able to slide on by, but the worst goes to the 21 and the 20, and also to that of Cedric Hunter.
Yeah, unfortunately, like you said, it's just I mean, that's all it takes. It's just that little bit, and you wind up running right into somebody. And it could have just been not so much over aggressive on Mark Whitley's side of things. Maybe some people agree, some people can disagree. He might have hit the brakes there, Sam, and the brakes didn't react the way he thought they would. Because we already know these guys are dealing with a very, very loose car. We know the guys are dealing with a bumpy car. So we really don't know what happened in the cockpit. And I'm sure Mark Whitley is not the one that will intentionally wreck somebody. Maybe I'm sticking up for him there, but maybe he will. I don't know, because what we've seen between him and Vincent Sora, I say it's a 50-50.
I will say this: Mark Whitley he's proud when he's aggressive. He'll say for sure he is very proud when he makes an aggressive move and it sticks. When it doesn't, he'll stick with it was an aggressive move and it's a racing incident.
Right.
So, do want to give note of drivers further down. James Loveland has parked it as the 56. Was caught up in our first major incident that caused damage and our 3rd caution of the night, and again was caught up in another incident and is deciding to just park it. Aaron Kralik, who we were talking about, who got disconnected, he is back in their server, but is 25 laps down. Ryan Lewis got on track as well, but he's 14 laps down. Max Foner, Sean Hutstutler, both multiple laps down, but are on track. I take that back, though. Max Foner still getting repairs done, and most of this field still a lot of racing to go, as we've got ourselves just a couple of more laps. Stage 1 comes to a close at the end of lap 75, and only the top 5 get those stage points. Vincent Sora, Brian Johnson, Danny Cochran, they've been up front quite well, but can Thompson, Check, and Ethan Smith hold back the hungry wolves behind them? We'll find out. Green flag in the air, and already you see the 15 and the 2 working together on that restart, and they are already getting by Brian Johnson. And Johnson, he's got to figure out how to attack these two teammates that are 1-2 going into 3.
Yeah, 1-2 teammates right now here, and 1-2, like you said there, Sam. But you know what? With these restarts that I'm seeing here, somebody's got to figure out how to beat Vincent off that line, because yeah, we're going to see multiple. We're going to see some more yellows. That's we can guarantee that from what the way the race trend is going on here right now. So these guys got to figure out what to do with Vincent on them restarts, because like you said earlier, Sam, he's got this figured out.
Yeah, the outside lane, you can just get straight so much sooner, and then you're back on the throttle and you're gone. And for Vincent Sora, he's been putting down the fastest laps of the day. He actually does have the fastest lap that has been put down all night long with an 18.669, but running about 0.2 off, so there is a tire fall off for these drivers. If they've gone fresher rubber, they certainly could be someone to watch out for. And one of those drivers that could be on the charge to watch out for, we've already seen him use the bumper a couple times, could be that of Mark Whitley back in 7th, but as well, Ethan Smith and Kyle Rochelle, they've got the freshest of tires currently in the top 5, and they're trying to make some moves. Danny Cochran, that of Brian Johnson, they were side by side for a moment, but here's Thomas Walter back in 8th, doing a great job for himself, being in the top 10, needed every point possible to make sure that he's in the top 16 for the playoffs. Mark Whitley gets loose, but holds on for the 77.
Wow. Well, you caught that on your screen before I did, because I instantly said, hold on, almost, and you are already on it, Sam. But, man, he got loose again, and now he's stuck down there on that low line. Mark Whitley, so far from what I can see, is the only driver that really wants to work that bottom line. He's finding something down there, or he knows hopefully maybe something's going to come in on that bottom line, because right now everybody's merging to the top line, and right now Mark Whitley's saying, nope, I'm going to run this lower line.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where you're hoping the inside lane is going to develop, and you kind of threw out your thoughts on this being kind of a less banked Martinsville, I mean, not Martinsville, but Bristol, and the fact that the inside lane has been more prevalent spot to be at Bristol here recently with these updates. So Mark Whitley's hoping to find a little bit more speed there, but being kind of stalled out with himself and Tom Sinchak. The battle for 6 we're seeing on screen, and some other close battles that are also going on is for that battle that is going on for 3rd place. But honestly, where all the chaos has been for most of the night was back from 10th on back. As the driver's going to go loose and going to go down low, it's going to be Jonathan Pittman stuck sideways on the back stretch. And the 21 brings out our 7th caution of the day. And with the timing of this coming out, this is going to be our stage break for tonight's evening. So stage point bonus points going to go to Vincent Sora, Brian Johnson, Danny Cochran, Ethan Smith, and Kyle Rochelle. Those are your top 5 with this break. As Robert, we take a look here at what happened to the 21.
We'll see what the 21 does, and you can see that vehicle bouncing there, and he's coming out of the turn. And it looks like, again, just gets loose, slides that thing, and it gets back on the gas, I think, too soon, locks it up, hits the inside wall. Thankfully, he did not slide back up the track and collect anybody else. But, yeah, again, I don't know how to say it. Do-si-do. You know, you don't do it once, do it twice. It just seems like it's the same place, same turn. Getting back on the gas too soon, the back end's kicking out, the back rear tires are not having grip, and around we go.
Well, the big thing for these drivers and what makes coming out of turn 2 and also out of turn 4 so difficult is we got the banking, right, that these drivers are dealing with. And when you're on the inside or even the second lane up from the apron, you are dealing with a major transition of being banked low, and then your car has to move up to flatten out on the straightaways, which that little bit of a bump that goes up, that is causing these drivers to get that loose sensation and is going to make them spin around. So they're constantly dealing with that with every single lap. So they're right now, these drivers, you've seen it, it's been a handful, 7 cautions of the night. And most of them, I would say probably about 5 to 4 of these cautions have been self-spins, just trying to deal with that transition from the baked corners to the straightaway. As this comes out, most of the field comes into pit road, except for that of Maurice Gilmillion, the 44, staying out, going to be on that of 35 lap older tires than the rest of the field. but is going to be getting that extra bonus point from leading a lap.
He's going to get that extra bonus point, but everybody there in the back now is going to have to pay really, really close attention to him, because fresh tires against old tires, he's going to have to watch out, because the field's going to be wanting to try to run him over. So the question is does he start on the high line or does he start on the low line? Because right now, Vincent Sora, we've seen him take off every restart really good on the high line. How does he react on the low line now? Because he's going to get put down there, and I do believe he should be fine. I wouldn't see why he wouldn't be fine. On fresh tires, he's going to be able to have that kind of grip to be able to launch out of the turns. But, go back to what you were saying there, Sam, about how the banking is, and then they transition to the flat there a little bit. I always just think that with that transition, it's all timing on when you get back on that gas pedal. And if you get back on it too fast, you're going to spin the back end around instantly. It's all just, throttle control basically here tonight.
Yeah, throttle control, patience, all of that is going to be up for these drivers to try to handle. As the pace car lights are off, we're going to be going this time by Maurice Gomillion, Vincent Sora, Danny Cochran, Brian Johnson, Kyle Rochelle, going to be your top 5. Thank you to everyone that's been watching us here tonight, Saturday Night Racing for the NAISCC track, that of Track Racer Cup Series. It's the Norse Star Designs throwback 200 here at the Nashville Fairgrounds, and we are green once again. We race to the end. There's no more stage breaks, and it's all Maurice Gomillion with the launch, and now it's going to be side-by-side Vincent Sora, who hasn't been on the inside for most of this race. He's got to hold on going into turn number 3.
Now, I'm very shocked. That 44 got a great launch there on the top with old tires. Now, unfortunately, he ain't going to be able to hold off on that second lap, but that's impressive, and that's something that these drivers can take notes of, that, if you can hold off on it, if we got one lap shootout maybe, he can do.
Oh boy, Ethan Smith into Norse Gomillion.
Oh, and we seen that live, ladies and gentlemen. We don't need to go back and replay.
When you go 3 wide, it's never a good thing, especially going to the entry of the corner. And immediately over the radio was Ethan Smith saying, hey, we're going 3 wide. And so it was not going to be a safe transition going into the corner. But we're getting out our 8th caution of the day. Drivers that maybe, for Maurice Gomillion, he's trying his best. But when you're on older tires and drivers are trying to get through, no surprise that a caution came out like it did.
How many sets of tires do they have here tonight, Sam? I know you said it earlier.
These drivers are going to have 4 sets of tires to work with. Most of the field has already used that of 1 set. For that of Mark Whitley and a couple of other drivers, they've already used 2 sets. So there's, for a lot of these drivers, they still got a lot of tires to work with. But I would say that they're not in too much of an issue right now. As coming into tonight's race, we knew there was going to be a lot of cautions. And after stage 1 being done, do want to give note of what's been going on so far, as we've had 2 drivers officially DNF, that being James Loveland and Max Foner, who were involved with Rex earlier on. James Loveland was involved in our 3rd caution of the day, got too much nose damage, tried to run on it, and just said, you know what, it's just too much. And Max Foner being involved in our 5th caution of the day, he also called it a day for himself. We also had Aaron Kralik in the 0-1 have internet connection issues and then got reconnected. So then he had to got back onto the racing server, but is 25 laps down. Ryan Lewis missed the grid, was 14 laps down. Sean Hutzstutler and also was caught up in an incident with that of Max Foner, and so we find the 94 being multiple laps down. 15 drivers on the lead lap currently, but could be dropped to 14, mattering on Maurice Gomillion, making sure he can get back out on track before the pace car passes him, and believe he will do so. So we will have total of 15 drivers on track that are on the lead lap, with that of 3 drivers a lap down or more going to be behind. 18 drivers on track here, Robert, as Vincent Sora paces around.
We're sort of under our 8th caution here tonight with these gentlemen. And like you said, you got Aaron there in that 0-1 down 25 laps. But you know what? He's back out there. Every position is a point, and that can help him if he makes it into the playoffs. Is definitely, he's looking at the future. Don't just give up. Every position that you can gain is a point and could help you in the playoffs. You just don't give up there, Sam.
Oh, absolutely not. And you look at the drivers that showed up here tonight that are trying to get as many points as they can get. Ryan Ferraro, one of those major drivers, comes in tonight 38th in points, so he needs every point possible. It might be virtually impossible
Yeah.
unless the amount of drivers don't show up. As Ryan Bird, he didn't show up here tonight, and that's a position that can be gained by someone that's looking out, trying to get in. So we'll see how well they can do, but it's going to be that of Vincent Sora, Danny Cochran, Brian Johnson, Kyle Rochelle, Ethan Smith, and Mark Whitley going to be your top 6 as we are green once again for the North Star Designs Throwback 200 here at the Nashville Fairgrounds, all on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Vincent Sora back to his happy place, the outside and up front, and pulling away from the rest of the field.
Pulling away from his teammate there, and we got Kyle Rochelle now battling side by side with Brian Johnson there as he's looking, as Ethan Smith's going to be on the outside of Mark Whitley, and Mark Whitley again is still trying to work that inside line, and he got a little loose that last time coming out of turn number 4, and he's going to look, and I hear vehicles hitting each other. Oh, and the 21 into the wall.
It is dangerous further back, heavy damage for themselves, and as well, Danny Cochran getting involved with a little bit of contact between himself and Brian Johnson. The 2 falls back, but back here, battling, it is just constant side-by-side action on these restarts for the pack that are in the top 6, and then also for the drivers that are battling back for that of 12th position. They're dangerous on top of one another, side-by-side, all throughout the track, as you see that of Westfield Pittman. They were on top of one another for a quick second, but currently side by side is the battling for 5th place. Danny Cochran, Mark Whitley, they continue to stay side by side, but the 2 of the 77 have been the 2 machines that have gotten extremely loose and might be the ones that get out of turn 4 or out of turn 2 and could take each other out.
Could see them take each other out, and if they keep racing like this, they might take each other out. But most definitely here, you can see Mark Whitley. He does have front end damage there now, Sam. So we don't know how that's going to hinder. He's going to have to keep really close on his water temperature, and also make sure that engine does not overheat. As Danny back there in that 002 Hot Laps design machine got loose, man. These guys are they're flirting on and he got loose again.
Ooh. Got loose again, and then in front of him, Mark Whitley almost brushed into the outside wall. So it is, it's not safe, and you can just tell. Once we get into these runs and the drivers, once you put enough heat into that rear right tire, if you've been too aggressive, that rear end just wants to snap on you every time you get back into the throttle. And that's what we're seeing from the 2 currently, as Tom Senchak easily makes the pass. Here comes Thomas Walter trying to set up a move. And as well, we haven't seen the pink Hello Kitty machine in a while, but Cedric Hunter cracking into the top 8.
Yeah, he's cracking in the top 8 after getting into a caution there with Ethan Smith there. No, actually Mark Whitley tagging in there in the rear end, and he's bouncing back. But, I'm just paying attention to each little driver here out here on the track right now, Sam, trying to figure out who is handling the car. And right now we know Vincent Sora, he's got this track figured out. It looks like being up front, clean air is where you want to be. But looking through the rest of the field, who do you see that's got a good, stable car? I mean, Thomas Walters here. Yeah, he's back here running in 9th position here, but his car looks pretty clean. It looks like he's handling it pretty well. It looks like the car, in the setup-wise for his side of things, is pretty stable.
Yeah, looking very stable. And I think that's more so of just recognizing the position he's in. Just don't need to push it too hard. Just run these laps. Still a lot of racing. We're just coming up to halfway here in just 6 laps. So these drivers recognizing we don't need to get too overzealous. Still a lot of racing. We've seen a lot of drivers have issues. We don't want to be the next one going to the garage here early. And for Thomas Walter, I'm loving the style of just keeping himself clean and watching the other drivers get a little bit too much racy action, such as Danny Cochran, Mark Whitley. Those 2 drivers been very close to one another and almost making contact. And right now, you're seeing Danny Cochran just faltering back. And the next victim for Danny Cochran could be that of Thomas Walter, as Walter just slowly inching up to the 2.
He's slowly inching up to the 2, but we have I'm looking out on a YouTube chat, and somebody asked, can you imagine having 43 cars on this track?
No, I don't want to think about that. That is too many cars. We only came in with that of 20, and it was already a lot of drivers being caught up in issues. And I don't think we would have gotten to this point where we're getting, some type of small divots of green flag racing that we're seeing. And I don't think we would have seen that with 43 drivers. here at Nashville Fairgrounds, but it certainly would be something to imagine for sure. As right now on the back bumper of the 13 of Cedric Hunter, our Season 3 champion. Cedric Hunter doing his best to make sure that he's still in the playoffs. And coming into tonight, Cedric Hunter was one of the more consistent drivers throughout the season for Season 3, ran under the radar, and I kind of coined that. It was Zach Hall, Brian Johnson that were the heavy favorites going to the championship race last season, and Cedric Hunter was just there. He was looking just consistent. That's what got him the championship win. And currently in this season, 4 top 5, 7 top 10s, no wins for this 13 just yet, because I know he wants it bad. And then we look at some other drivers that come into this season. Rookie in the 88 on screen, but 00 on our ticker, Ethan Smith. He's been growing and getting faster each and every week. It's been amazing to see the development of Ethan Smith throughout this year as he moves up into 4th as we're coming up to the halfway.
Coming up to the halfway mark here, and just for the funny there, Sam, he's on 88 on track. On our ticker, it would be the 00, but like Brandon Colley said out there on YouTube, you put 2 zeros on top, and hang on.
Stretch. Tom Sinchak gonna be involved with this one, and it was a complete accordion effect. The throwback Budweiser machine. Tom Sinchak gonna be the driver involved with this one, and they just kept on. I mean, if we've got the replay, this is one of the wilder incidences because it just started on the entry of turn 1 with Cedric Hunter and that of Kyle Rochelle. You see the contact ahead between the 13 and the 1. That's going to be jostling everyone up where the 8 has to back off so he doesn't run into the 1. But Danny Cochran, nowhere to go, just pile drives the 8 off the exit of the corner. But when you're riding it, if we can get a ride on along with the 2 after we see this incident, you're going to see there was no way for Danny Cochran to have any reaction time to slow down with how quick this all just happened.
All right, sorry about that. Replay's loading slow here tonight, but here you go. We got the onboard, and boom. Yeah, see the bumps? You see how them cars just jumped there, Sam?
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing really you could do in that situation. You're just riding along once you pick your lane, and yeah, those bumps are so aggressive. And that's why when we talk about getting back on the throttle, if you get back on the throttle and those bumps are just that aggressive, it throws everything out the window. Question in the chat, is this an open or fixed setup series? It is a fixed series, so everyone is on the same playing field. The cars are set up the same. It is all about your wheelmanship on how well you can get up front and hold off everyone. So good question out there in the chat as we are now past halfway, 9 cautions in. And Robert, we might be able to get it in. We're going to take a quick break for ourselves. We'll be back after this quick commercial break. And if we aren't back before they go green, they are green. Don't worry, you won't miss a thing. Side-by-side non-stop action when we come back. Well, we did have a little bit of green flag racing there with us being away, but a quick caution gets thrown out. That's going to be Adam Westfield bringing out this quick yellow. Only a few laps of green flag racing before the 88 got spun around. Other drivers coming into pit road here as we'll take a replay of what happened to that of Westfield to bring out this 10th caution of the night for these drivers. You're going to see the 88 coming into the corner, and we'll see if he gets any help, but I don't believe so. He does. And into the corner and just finds himself getting loose on the entry. Once again, just turning into the corner a little bit too much. And that's what gets the 88 spun around.
Wow, as Pittman, he did evasive action there and went up the track real quick to miss the 88. So good awareness there from Pittman there in that number 21 machine there.
Oh, absolutely. And for a lot of the drivers there, they're now just going to have to reset, figure out what they're going to be doing on this next, what they want to do. As for Tom Senchak into pit road for himself, same goes for Thomas Walter and Jonathan Pittman, all coming into pit road on this most recent caution. Aaron Kralik comes in as well. So just a few drivers coming in, topping off with fuel and also getting tires. And something we did not touch on because we were under commercial break, but we did have majority of the field coming to pit road, get themselves fresh tires and fuel. But for that of Kyle Rochelle and Mark Whitley, who had already used a set of tires, they're going to be now finding themselves being on older tires on this restart. They're going to be both most likely going to have to fend and try to hold off. They're going to be sitting ducks here on this next restart here, Robert, but we're past halfway. We're on the final hurrah of tonight's event. But this, again, reminder, this is our first of 2 weeks at Nashville Music City for 2 weeks. We're going to Nashville Super Speedway next week for these drivers. Concrete racing at the 1.3 mile course, and that is going to be an interesting one, seeing how tire wear is going to be affecting these drivers.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, right now they're here at Nashville Fairground, and then we're going to go to the Speedway side of things. Whole different ballpark, like you said, concrete. And we'll see how these tires play out next week. And that's going to be an interesting race. It's going to be next week. It's going to be fun to watch and see how this all plays out, because I know it's these Cup cars are a handful to handle. And most definitely they're going to have to handle them and try to figure out how they can save tires. I know you called multiple races there, Sam, and I've called some there. And I do believe it's going to be a good show.
Oh, absolutely. We're expecting it to be a good one, but before we get there, we got to see how tonight's show is going to finish out. Mark Whitley, Brian Johnson, Ethan Smith, Kyle Rochelle, Adam Cedric Hunter, and Vincent Soar are going to be your top six as they are stacked up, ready to go. Green flag in the air, and it's going to be Mark Whitley on the loud pedal, and with even a better start than what we've seen from Vincent Sora by over that of 3 car lengths. It's the 77 ahead of everyone else, but it's side by side between that of Brian Johnson and Smith going into turn number 3.
They come in at turn number 3. We'll ride along with Vincent Sora here. He's going to take it out of turn number 4 here with Cedric Hunter right in front of him. And, yep, we're doing the oop, up, oop, hang on, as he's going to look on the low line. And this is the second time that he's been in dirty air. And you can see how...
wrecking behind him.
Oh, no. Oh,
they
no.
were 3 wide behind that of Vincent Zora. It was Moniz, Rochelle, and the 2 of Cochran. And 3 wide, like we've seen before here, Robert. It does not fare well for these drivers.
I want to know why these guys are trying to take it 3 wide. We are not at Talladega.
Well, when I said oof that one moment, it was because Danny Cochran got pushed back. He got loose at turn number 4, which put him in this situation through turns 1 and 2. And coming out of turn number 2, just loose sensation for the 2 machine and cell spin. But you do not want to be that low out of these corners. You're trying to get as much space so you can let the car settle before getting into the throttle. And when you're that low, the transition is even more. And that means that you can get loose very easily. And the 2 gets straight. And luckily, no other damage was given.
No other damage, and that's the thing too. You know, you want to, like you just noted there, Sam. You want to come out of that exit, and you want the car to drift up so you can get the full throttle, get on the straightaway. But if you got a car on the outside, you can't do that. You can't slide up. That car can pinch you down, and the more wheel input you put into it, and these guys dealing with the track being as icy and slippy and no grip as it is, that really puts you in a bad circumstance, man. You really don't want to be in that position.
No, you really don't. And for a lot of these drivers, they're now going to have to reset as all the pace laps come in. You heat up the tires, you cool them down, heat them up, cool them down, and you're just hoping that you can keep it at a steady rate so that you can then try to get more into a rhythm and a pattern. That's what short track racing is all about, is finding that rhythm so you can just constantly find your speed and maybe make slow and small adjustments because of the tire wear. But you're trying to get into that rhythm. But when you're constantly getting put into caution after caution after caution, we're only 11 cautions in after 118 laps. It gets to you at points where you're like, I don't know how to really get into that speed where I want to be without worrying about the other drivers around me.
Well, that's it too. Some drivers, it takes a while. Some drivers are a rhythm driver. You know, it takes 20 laps and you get into that rhythm, and you know when your braking point is, and you know when your gas point is, and you just get into that rhythm. You start feeling comfortable, and you're out there racing. And when you have yellow and then you run 10 laps, you have a yellow, run 10 laps, like you said, it heats the tires up, cools the tires down, and you just can't find that rhythm. And when you can't find that rhythm, some drivers, it's not good. And they're basically the drivers that like the long runs, do long runs and get in that rhythm. And then you got some drivers that are the short run drivers that this here to them is normal. It's no different. And if we get a long run, then that's when you see them struggle. So it's a 50-50 game here, but you definitely don't want to see this many O's already into it. But we're short track racing here, and everybody's going for positions and trying, and I'm sure the dirty air is not playing very nice either. So they're dealing with the dirty air. They're dealing with the track that's very slick. Tires are not heating up. The tires are getting heated up, and then they're getting cold. You know what I mean? So, we can go on a list here and make a book almost.
Excuses on why you're not performing as well as you could be, but for these drivers on this restart, it's go time. Don't make any mistakes. Don't get your wheels spin, as we are green for the Norse Star Design Throwback 200. And now going into turn number 1, it's Mark Whitley, Cedric Hunter, and Brian Johnson side by side. Ethan Smith spun around. It's the 88.
And caution number 12 is out, and yep, there it is again. And I don't know if he had any help there, Sam, but
oh, there's no way. On the entry of that corner, there had to be help. And we'll see it on the replay for sure. And over the radio, I'm hearing Vincent Sora's voice, so I'm expecting it's probably the 15 that might have given a little bit of a bump. As you'll see here, entry of turn 1, you see the 1588 going into this restart into turn number 1. Watch out for that rear left quarter panel. The 15 gives a tap, and away he goes.
Yep, Vincent Sora says that package is getting too late at my house. Get moving and deliver it.
Oh.
He sent it.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, boy.
Sometimes you just get frustrated and you're just like, I want my package now. Got delayed. I can't attack the actual company, but your car is that company, so I'll go after you.
That's right. That's right, Sam. That's right. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're enjoying tonight's content here at Freaking Fast Broadcasting. We do much appreciate everybody coming out, tuning in, watching tonight's event, and hopefully you're enjoying the show here tonight with Sam Dyer and Robert A. Moyer Jr. calling all the action here with the NAISCC Cup Series. The Track Racer, Refine Your Gaming. Make sure you go and check them gentlemen out for the proud sponsor of this series here with these guys. So, man, I don't know. It's been a while since I've been up in the booth calling a race, Sam, and I don't know how you do it, but I'm starting to run out of things to talk about.
Oh, don't worry. We're just making jokes once we get into these cautions. We're not trying to hurt any feelings, but when you are looking to get some feelings, why don't you get it from a game or two? Get that from ButtKicker. ButtKicker, feel what you've been missing. For us up in Freaky Fast, I think ButtKicker's been, I would say, Robert, the longest sponsor that we've had, but they certainly put out some of the best products out there, the game or two. Instead of hearing the rumblings of these cars as they're pacing, why not feel the rumbling of the cars? And when you're slipping and sliding, feel that as well, of the screeching of the sounds. We heard from pro drivers, the feel and sensation of having these cars is a factor that really changes how you drive. And get yourself a ButtKicker, game or two from ButtKicker, and it honestly could change the way and enhance the way that you're driving and just enhance your gaming with when you get your track racer rig set up and you go to that advanced sim racing. You get yourself all of the supplies, you get your racing rig set up, You're going to be out there ready to go. As well, getting your Simbox from the Simbox store. All of the systems, all the sponsors, they come together. They can make you one of the best racing rigs if you get all these supplies. Remember to use the promo code FreakyFast20 for 20% off at ButtKicker. Feel what you've been missing. And Robert, it's just like that. You just find little cues, you find it out, and you just stuff it in there into the broadcast. You're good.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not you, man.
Honestly,
I try.
Sometimes you just find little things. You're like, how do we get the sponsor into these broadcasts? And that's a key word that we got to use at some point. I'll save that for later on.
There you go. There you go. Well, like I said, hopefully everybody's enjoying tonight's show. I know it's we're on our 12th caution here with these gentlemen here, but we're getting ready to go back green here with Mark Whitley. He's going to be on the high side. We know the high side's been very, very strong here, so we'll see how this all plays out, ladies and gentlemen. As we got Cedric Hunter going to be looking on the inside, and we got the number 5 there behind Mark Whitley with Brian Johnson looking on the inside. And oh wow, look at this, Sam. The Cedric Hunter is going to keep up with him out of turn 2, but it looks like Mark Whitley is finally going to clear him.
Yeah, and Riff, for both these drivers, last time they were with one another, it was Mark Whitley spinning around the 13, but we will not see the battle. Yellow flies as drivers further back getting themselves in trouble.
I think somebody's in trouble up front. Cedric Hunter just ran right in the back of Mark Whitley.
I mean, when you're slowing down, sometimes you just...
No. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. He never slowed up. Carl start finish line, he ran right into the back of him.
I mean, there's some drivers that find, when they see the yellow, they race it to a certain point, then they let off. Other drivers, right when a yellow comes out, they're slamming on their brakes. So there's other moments like that. But bringing out our 13th caution of the day, going to be a little bit of miscommunication on the backstretch going into turn number 3 between that of Thomas Walter and Ethan Smith. We'll see on this instant replay of what brought out our 13th yellow. Thank you everyone for joining us here tonight on Freaky Fast Broadcasting as we take a look at what brought out the yellow about a couple laps ago maybe.
Yeah, unfortunately it didn't trigger that yellow. I do apologize, ladies and gentlemen. That yellow is not going to show up.
Well, it's okay.
Both
drivers are okay. They're okay after the incident, so.
They're going to the NASCAR hauler, in-care Fail Center. They fine?
No, they're not.
Oh, they're not fine? Okay.
They're not fighting. There's just a little bit of a bickering of what happened. Also, I went back and rewatched what happened with Mark Whitley and Cedric Hunter, and yeah, like I saw and what I thought, Mark Whitley, they were riding on top of one another, and Whitley decided to slam on his brakes, and Paulie was trying to slow down once the yellow came out, and Cedric Hunter was not expecting that at all.
Okay.
And just ran right into him, which between the two different damages you can get, Cedric Hunter is going to deal with the more damage of getting that nose crinkled and the potential of engine damage. So for Mark Whitley, getting rear end damage, not too bad. You can deal with that here at Short Track Racing, as the aero package is not the most important thing. It's making sure you got an engine that is at full power and 4 wheels underneath you, and you can do quite well at these short track courses.
Very true, very true. Cedric Hunter, but his front end there on that 13 machine there don't look too damaged. Now, if we look at Mark Whitley's front end, he does have some more damage. So Cedric Hunter's got more in the back, as Mark Whitley has more in the front. But like you said, you do not want to get any more damage that you already have in the front, because then you got to start looking at your overheating problems. Keep an eye on the water temperature, and these cars can be finicky here in iRacing, and just out of the blue, and I've seen it out of the blue, just poof, and that's it. Your race is over.
Yeah, it could be that instant where you can see your race being done. Mark Whitley, though, a lot of that damage happened in the first 30 laps of this race. I would say after he first came into pit road on lap 22 to that of lap 50, when you had fresher tires, it was kind of running over a lot of machines, and just got that nose damage collected. But he's had time to get repairs done, so I wouldn't be too worried about Mark Whitley here at the end. But we'll see with any enemies that he's built up, how he wants to be. Mark Whitley, he's already made Vincent Sora an enemy. Who else will be on his list? As it's Mark Whitley, that of Cedric Hunter, Vincent Sora, Brian Johnson, Dakota Moniz is going to be your top 5 as we race it down into turn number 1 for that of the Norse Star Designs Throwback 200 here at Nashville Fairgrounds. Out of turn number 2, still side by side for the battle for first and the battle for third.
Yeah, I think that damage on Cedric Hunter's car is just hurting him a little bit there, Sam. I mean, he gets a great run on the start there. He figures out how to keep up with Mark Whitley, but I do believe with that rear spoiler damage, Mark Whitley just got a little bit better liftoff coming out of the turns. But as I'm saying that, here comes Cedric Hunter looking down on the inside, coming through 3 and 4. He's going to try to power his way out, going down into 1. He's not going to make the clear here yet, and he's going to try it again down into turn 1. Mark Whitley slides out of track, and oh, a little bit of contact there.
Just a little bit. Then also behind them, Brian Johnson gets loose, but here comes Cedric Hunter once again to the inside. Gonna be trying to get a run. He's got to get a slide job, but here comes Vincent Sora now. Again, we've seen the 77 and the 15 have a lot of contact in history Monday night in the Truck Series. Will that history come over here? Cedric Hunter gets loose, holds on, and now gonna be losing a position and more potentially. But luckily the 13th race isn't over. Now the transition, Vincent Sora on the back bumper, a little bit of contact for our front 2, and here comes Sora trying to rattle the cage of the 77 of Mark Whitley.
And look who's going to bounce back here after doing that slide job there a little bit. Almost lost the car. Cedric Hunter's going to work his way back behind Vincent Sora, as Vincent Sora's going to look high, and Mark Whitley says, nope, I'm going to go low and block. And how much blocking can Mark Whitley do here before... Vincent Sora says, you know what, dude, enough's enough here. You're going to have to move out of the way. And he's going to do maybe the bump and run here.
There are only about 3 other drivers I could think about, maybe 2 other drivers that have more blocking and willing to risk their car than Mark Whitley, that being Patrick Hernandez and also Jesse Thordick, who are going to be those 2 other drivers. But this 77 is known throughout the field for blocking, but we're not going to see the battle go on. Wreck, Jonathan Pittman, going to be involved with this one, and same goes for that of Ethan Smith.
Oh, man. All right, well, let's go back on the replay here, ladies and gentlemen. As we get the replay to load up here, Sam, and see exactly what happened between Jonathan Pittman here and Ethan Smith, as we see the number 21 here coming through the turn, and you can see Ethan Smith back there. Oh, the 21 got loose, gets down, and just hits one and hits the other, and, Ethan Smith was an innocent bystander there.
Oh, absolutely, and was doing his best not to be involved in this wreck, and in an instant, just seeing his race be spun around, and multiple times that we've seen that of the 00 on our ticker, 88 on track, doing his best to just race this one out, but because of how much rear end damage that Ethan Smith got, he actually got that whole entire rear bumper removed after the contact between himself and Pittman. We'll see how well he's going to be able to move on from this race. But with the timing of this yellow, now puts these drivers in a precarious spot. Do they want to use another set of tires? And for Mark Whitley, Brian Johnson, and many others behind from that of 8th on back, they want tires. And so we're going to be seeing a little bit of a switch up on who's up front. Vincent Sora, Cedric Hunter, no surprise with them, but Kyle Rochelle, Danny Cochran, Thomas Walter, Adam Westfield, and Ethan Smith going to be your front 7, all that decided to stay out and did not come in for tires or damage repairs.
That is right, Sam. And looking at my notes here that I'm seeing here on my data, Cedric Hunter, Vincent Sora pitted on lap 102. Then we got Kyle Rochelle and Danny on 116, Thomas on 128, Ethan on 122, and then Mark Whitley, Brian Johnson, and the rest of the field back on lap 140 here that just pitted. So we have a whole big shuffle of different tire strategies going on here. So this is going to be very interesting, and this is caution number 14. So got a question to ask you, Sam, and maybe you know this, maybe you don't. What is the record for most yellows here at this league? I know it was at Martinsville. Did we have 21, 17? What was it again?
Pretty sure it was 24.
24?
I could be wrong on that, but it was high up there. We've seen a lot. I also got to make sure I don't get mixed up on all my broadcasting that I've done. I've worked with a lot of broadcasting teams. I've seen a lot of very massive wrecks. I think I had one broadcast where I had 32 cautions at a Martinsville race. So
wow.
There's been some long ones for sure. But I think for here, doing some quick math, I think the most that we can have if a yellow came out every single time we went green, Quick math, we would probably have at least 11 more cautions on top of that. So
Mm.
we have the potential of 25, but I think we will see a couple of more green flag runs before yellow comes out. So
Yeah.
probably we're going to have 20 is the max that I'm expecting, but I'm expecting a couple of more cautions for sure.
All right. Well, I don't know. I was just asking you to see if you knew what the record was, because we're on 14th, and not that you want to break the record. That's a record you don't want to have. But unfortunately, every league has that threshold and that record, and you never want to even get close to it, basically. But we're going back green here as, well, there goes Vincent Sorer. He's back out front, and he's on the high side with a very... You notice one thing I noticed here with him being out front and even working traffic, his car is very, very clean. So this is helping him be able to navigate and get a good jump, and he doesn't have to worry about too much damage here as his teammates right behind him of Danny.
Yeah, trying to get going, and up front, we're seeing these drivers get in line further back. James Tremmel did get into the outside wall, and luckily still pointing in the right direction, but really up front, they're trying to keep themselves pointing straight. But the fresh tires of Brian Johnson, as well as Tom Sinchek, they're going to be doing everything in their power to start moving forward with the speed that they've got. And Brian Johnson, we're going to move up to 5th place, currently boxed in from Kyle Rochelle. But this is when things get interesting for our front runners. Fresher tires, the difference between Brian Johnson and Kyle Rochelle, that of 25 laps. But between Brian Johnson to our leader of Vincent Sorer, that being 38 lap difference. And there goes the one, spun around and others. Mark Whitley also involved in that one, bringing out another yellow here tonight.
Wow.
James Tremmel also locked into the fence on the outside wall in the front stretch. Plenty of drivers caught up in this one. And this, oh boy, a lot of fast drivers caught up in this one.
Yeah, I noticed it looked like Tom got into the wall, came down and hit Mark Whitley. Kyle Rochelle was already spinning even before this yellow came out. So we had synchronized yellows going on here, or synchronized spinning, as it looks like Brian Johnson got up into Kyle, and then you can see right here, and you can see Kyle spinning around. And then you said who winded up into the wall?
That being of James Tremmel gets locked into the outside wall.
Oh.
As you see there, that's the aftermath. And just drivers coming in and collecting with one another. Kyle Rochelle, once he got into the inside wall, actually bounced off. And the 20, who tried to sneak on by, was not able to. Multiple drivers running into the 20 machine. This is another big one here at Nashville Fairgrounds. As we are now past the 3/4 mark of the race, we'll take a look at what happened to the 20 here as he gets himself locked into the fence at the end of this replay. And you'll see it. Multiple drivers get spun around and nowhere to go for the 20 machine.
Yeah, you can see he didn't know where to go, and right up into the catch fence, inside the catch fence, and wow, that is and look, something drove right up underneath
There's a
him.
couple of more. There's one more, I think, that comes in and gives him a tap.
What? And here comes Adam. He's like, oh nope, Adam missed him. Okay, well, you know what? How did the number 5? He ran right up underneath him.
Yeah, and for a while, Tremmel was trying to get himself unstuck, and then finally had to get forced to take a tow. So multiple drivers heavily involved in this one, as we were running with about 16 drivers that were all on the lead lap running here. Crazy to see. And then in an instant, we've got 3 drivers being forced into pit road. That of Ryan Ferraro, Kyle Rochelle, James Tremmel, all going to be into pit road getting service done. For the 77 of Mark Whitley, though, yeah, might see him back there. He's got no front clip, looking like a modified. 77 still out on track in 8th place. He's going to have to try to limp this thing around. He already had nose damage. This just compiles on top of it, hoping that engine can hopefully make it to the end, as we're already past lap 152. The final quarter of the race, Robert. We'll see who can survive to the end.
Oh, that's the key now, Sam. Who can survive to the end? The damage, we got Mark Whitley back there in the modified. We got Cedric Hunter all damaged. I think there's only 1 car so far, maybe 2, that I see out here, which would be Brian Johnson and Vincent Sorer, that don't have any damage. I think everybody, Brian Johnson hit the wall, so he's got to have damage.
I think everyone has damage. I can't even say Vincent Sora doesn't have damage. I'm pretty sure he's brushed the wall or had someone
Okay.
tap into him.
Okay.
So
True.
this is short track racing. If you come away unscathed, you weren't being aggressive enough, in my opinion. You got to be aggressive if you're going to be moving up front, and that's why we see primarily all the drivers that are racing tonight with some type of damage. And with pace car lights off, they're stacked up, ready to go. Vincent Sora, Danny Cochran, Ryan Johnson, that of Cedric Hunter, Ethan Smith, Tom Senchek, Dakota Moniz, Mark Whitley, going to be your top 8 as we are green. Once again, the North Star Designs Throwback 200. It has been a wild one, and once again, side by side for the battle for that of second place.
Second place all the way back to third, fourth, fifth as they're trying to get all in line here as we got Mark Whitley trying to work. No front end. We got Ethan Smith with no rear end, and they're trying to get around Cedric Hunter that's got rear end damage, and he's down on that low line. You know, we had a couple guys trying to figure out if they can get that low line to work, and I just don't think it's going to come into play here tonight, Sam. I think that the high line is where you want to be. I don't think that low line is going to be anything here in the future.
Well, you got to be finding that speed and trying to figure out how you're going to be attacking. And now we're going to move up to the battle for the lead. That of Vincent Sora. He's been working on the outside line for most of this race. And now Brian Johnson, he's found some speed. Might be a little bit of bump and run as they're almost making contact, pushing the 15 even higher and almost into the outside wall. But there's that slingshot move, just getting all that speed. When you're on the high line, you can just get your apex, point that car straight so much sooner, and get back on the throttle. And that's why they're still side by side. But Brian Johnson, the longer this run goes on, the bigger advantage he's going to have as we keep on racing green. And just like that, Brian Johnson finally able to conquer over Vincent Sora.
I do believe Brian Johnson put the pressure on Vincent Sora there, and I think Vincent Sora overdrove the car, Sam. He got back on the gas, snapped that back end around, lost the position, and fell back to second. And now you can see he's struggling just a little bit. I think he's pushing the car harder than what he's used to because he knows who's leading the race right now is Brian Johnson, which does have a win in the season. So here we said it earlier in the broadcast. Can he break that streak? And you said he had a really good chance here tonight. And race ain't over yet, but it's starting to not look good for that 15 car.
Yeah, it certainly is not over for that of Vincent Sora. A lot of work still needs to be put in if he wants to find himself back in victory lane. The last time Vincent Sora was in victory lane for this series was all the way back in 2021, February 6th at Watkins Glen. He has been winless since then in this Cup Series, and he is looking to get that victory done, but he's got to pass the driver that has the most wins from last season and currently this season, Brian Johnson. 3 wins, trying to go for number 4 here at Nashville Fairgrounds.
As he's going to try to go for number 4 here. He's starting to pull out from Vincent Sora here. He's about a car length ahead of him right now, Sam, and he's starting to look good as we look at the time of the lap speed here. Last time by, they ran identical laps, so that's not going to cut it. Vincent Sora needs to find something somewhere, maybe try to work that low line, maybe try to work a little bit higher line so he can arc out and get more speed. We'll have to see how this all plays out on lap 63 of 200.
Yeah, and these drivers trying to put on it, and right now, because of the amount of cautions we've had and the damage that has been given, and also the very different tire strategies, it's allowed this group to really split up from one another. Closest battle on tracks for third place, the modified 77, trying to get on the back bumper of the 2 of Danny Cochran. And as this race continues to stay green, the potential of lap traffic could be a factor. We haven't talked about it all night long because we haven't gotten into this type of scenario into the race where drivers are starting to get split up from one another. But here's our chance. As you see further back, there's Maurice Go-Million Mo doing his best to have a great run here, as he was got jinxed by some drivers in the chat that were screaming out "Go Mo!" And just like that, another caution. We are pausing it for a quick second, as it's going to be Jonathan Pittman once again bringing out a yellow.
All right, well, we'll go back on the replay here and see exactly what happened with Jonathan here. As, you know, you brought up about the tire stuff going on here, and we'll note on that here after the replay. And we might hit one more commercial before this race is over here, but we're going to see what happened here with Pittman in that number 21 machine. As you can see, I think he just gets, just snaps out underneath him again here, unfortunately. And it looks like Lewis there in the 41. Yep, nowhere to go, and unfortunately gives him a tag.
Yeah, nowhere to really go, and for that of Lewis, he's been kind of off on his own, just trying to survive. And honestly, it's just been because everyone else is so many laps down, he's been able to move up into the top 15. But like you said, Robert, we might take a quick caution. Well, we are going to do that. We're going to go nonstop once again. So if these drivers go green, you'll still see it, all the racing action here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. We'll be back in just a few moments for the North Star Design Throwback 200. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. It has been a chaotic restart. Brian Johnson and as well that of Jonathan Pittman on older tires have already fallen all the way back. For Pittman, he's out of the top, back in the 13th position. Brian Johnson's up to 6th. But again, they are older tires by about 28 laps between them both to the rest of the field. But up front, it's that of Vincent Sora, Mark Whitley. They're attacking once again. The rivals from Monday's Truck Series. Well, you got a modified of Mark Whitley attacking Vincent Sora, and Sora tapping the outside wall off the exit. Here comes now that of Cedric Hunter. And my name is Sam Dyer. With me is Robert Moyer. And Robert, oh boy, are they still wrecking for each other.
Wow. Mark Whitley holds on to that modified, and definitely he's just driving that thing hard the best that he can, and Cedric Hunter's going to get around him. And Vincent Sora definitely wanted to see this. Now, this spread everything out here, but now we come back here to Simchek and Brian Johnson, and we got Danny, and these are fighting battle here. And then we come back to Adams, too. Adam Westfield, we didn't talk about him all night. He's up 11 positions there, Sam, up here battling with Hustetler, and oh my God, look out, that STP machine is trying to work his way around.
Yeah, I mean, for Sean Hustetler, it's been all about just stay consistent and let everyone else wreck out of this race. And now you're just seeing the battling between Gomillion and also that of Westfield. And for the 44, Mo, he's doing his best to just keep himself out of trouble. And right now, I gotta say, he's doing a great job of just running well for the 44. 10th place currently, just trying to get as many points as possible. Again, we got 2 more races after this before playoffs, and Westfield once again gets loose, but able to hold straight, and that's going to be the struggle from here on out, Robert. They're no longer trying to save. They've got to be aggressive as we are coming up to 20 laps to go here in just 3 laps, and it is going to be all Vincent Soros, Cedric Hunter, Mark Whitley, Danny Cochran, Thompson checking your top 5, but you can see back here, Westfield still struggling to hold on for the 88.
Looks like Steph was in that 94 he finally worked his way around that damaged number 88 as Adams is going to come down here to that Camaro and try to work his way back underneath him coming out of 4, and he just can't. Oh, and the 94 into the wall. That's not going to help.
That is not going to help at all, and that's going to be gifting now a chance for that of others to try to pile on and try to steal position away. But hey, we never know what we're going to really be seeing for these drivers. Also, other side-by-side action that's going on. You see it there just slightly. It's Ethan Smith, Brian Johnson battling for 6th place. They were side-by-side for quite a long time, but Brian Johnson had to relinquish that 6th place position. Those older tires just hurting the 28 too much here later on.
Now, the question is, Sam, does if we see another caution here, which the trend has been that we have been after about 10-15 laps, does Brian Johnson still got another set of tires? Who does have another set of tires? If we have a late break yellow here and they have a set of tires, this could flip the whole thing around.
I believe as we are now going to move up to 1st place, Vincent Sora does have at least 1 set of tires left. But the driver now below him, Cedric Hunter, I don't know for sure if he does or doesn't. He's coming to pit road 8 times for damage repair, but tires-wise, I'm not completely sure if he still has one. Mark Whitley, confirmed, does not have an extra set after this. And now our top 3 all on top of one another as we're less than 20 laps to go, coming soon to 15 laps to go.
Ain't that amazing that we just seen Vincent Sora get out to a 6/10 lead when within 3 laps you got the top 3 right back on top of each other. Classic short track racing. I have to say this Nashville Fairground Speedway here has not let us down here, and it's been battling as we still got a battle here for the lead, and Cedric Hunter's been trying this all night long, Sam. All night he's been trying to get up underneath this 15 here, and he pushes up, he beats him, he slides, he hits him, and he just can't get the run coming out.
Well, you got to think for Cedric Hunter, he saw the roadmap, how to pass that by of Vinny, and right now he saw how Brian Johnson moved the 15 even higher up to the 3rd or 4th lane at this track. Might have to do a similar thing here, but if you make the move and you take each other out, Mark Whitley is just right there waiting for a chance to pounce on this. And I got to say, Robert, we're looking good to be seeing a first-time winner of this season. And Vincent Sora, he's trying to get his first win of the season. Cedric Hunter's trying to get his first win. Same goes for Mark Whitley. And Danny Cochran, he's also hoping for a top 3 to wipe each other out, sitting in 4th place.
Well, let's hope he don't wipe himself out here. That's the last thing we want to see here. We just want to see this thing go green to the end here, because I do believe if Cedric Hunter keeps on, he's pressuring that 15. And I do believe if he keeps on pressuring that 15, he might break. You don't know. He might make that 15 break and take over the lead here, as there he is again looking up underneath, and he's doing that slide job, but he's not running into him, but he's right on top of him.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be the big thing, is you got to stay at the quarter panel and kind of force the 15 to have a very high entry point. So you got to just keep him high from the start of the entry of the corner. But Vincent Sora is able to be clean, so he can pick and choose how he really truly wants to enter these corners. While Cedric Hunter, he's just dive bombing it all the way to the yellow line each and every lap. And now coming to 10 laps to go, our top 3 all within that of 3/10 of one another. 4th place and 5th place, they're a 2.5 seconds back.
I am just shocked. Look at this battle in here for the top 3, man. One mistake, one little hiccup, and you're going to get pounced, and you can lose 1 position, 2 positions, or you can gain 1, 2, 3 positions. As woohoo! Oh, Mark Whitley got loose there.
Oh, and Mark Whitley's going to be dealing with a lot. And as well, I talked about it, lap traffic might be a factor at some point. Jonathan Pittman's going to be that first driver for our leaders. And then after that, it's going to be Kyle Rochelle, both with heavy nose damage and old tires for both. But there's going to be lights like contact, but yellow flies issue further back. and this changes everything.
I just said 8 laps to go. If you got tires, what do, Sam? Do you make a pit stop? You have to. You have to go in and get tires. I mean, I don't know. I didn't see tires really dominate for the first couple laps. It's been, what, maybe 4 or 5 laps when tires really seen a difference. So with this being down to 7, what are we looking at? 5 to go? 4 to go?
Well, it's going to be with the timing of the caution coming on lap 8. I think it's going to put us around 3 laps to go for these drivers. Could be an inside the regulation green-white checkered, but this yellow comes out from Ryan Lewis, getting loose all on his lonesome out of turn number 4, hitting in the inside wall and coming to a dead stop in the middle of the racetrack. And Lewis, who had missed the grid, was already 14 laps down before they really got on track for the first time. Going to be bringing out potentially the game-changing pit stop, and the only driver that came into pit road was Brian Johnson and Jonathan Pittman. Everyone else in the top 11, they stay out, and it's all about track position here, Robert. It doesn't matter. I mean, if we had 20, 30 laps to go, maybe you come in for tires, but this late into the running, you got to stay out.
Yeah, you can't give up the track position. I mean, we're going to watch and see exactly what happens here with Brian Johnson and see if he can move up the field, because it looks like he's going to start back here and it's looking like 12th position. So he's going to have to power his way through within 3 laps, 12 positions to get back up to the lead here. And I just don't see that happening. He's just, I mean, he's going to be faster. He's going to have to try to work the positions and try to work around it. But yeah, I think it's too late. But hey, he's already got a win. He's already into the playoffs. Why not? I mean, what's he going to lose? He's not losing nothing. He's going for the win, and that's the only thing that matters to him right now.
Yeah, and also for Brian Johnson, he's going to be only deciding to take 2 tires when he came into pit road. So he's going to be back in 12th place with just right side tires, which I like that call. We've seen that be useful in, short track racing. Also Monday night for the truck cars, 2 tires have been very useful, but that's if we get ourselves into overtime and use all 3 attempts. I think that's when Brian Johnson's going to be in an advantage. But if we go green, we stay green, then the drivers are going to be in a tricky spot. Lights are off, 4 laps to go. It's going to be 3 when we go green. Here for the NAISCC Track Racer Cup Series, it's the North Star Throwback 200 at Nashville Fairgrounds. Someone's looking for the first win of the season. Will it be Vincent Sora that hasn't won since February of 2001? Could it be our champion from that of Season 3 just a season ago? Could it be Danny Cochran looking for a win? Mark Whitley potentially could try to get his first win of the season. Or will we see Tom Sinchek coming back and sign it up with 3 wins this season? All comes down to this. Pace car's off. Green flag in the air. And it's going to be the teammates of that of Vincent Sora. Danny Cochran. Great launch for themselves. Heading into turn number 1.
Turn number 1. And it's going to be send the mail. Here we go as Cedric Hunter's going to work his way back up to second with Danny Cochran. Going to have Mark Whitley underneath him trying to battle. And I do believe Danny's going to be able to power his way back out. Yep. As we're getting ready to go 2 to go here, Sam. And we're getting ready for the Freaky Fast Broadcasting's white flag.
And we're coming out turn number 2. Vincent Sora, Cedric Hunter. They're going to be the 2 drivers to watch out for. We get the white flag. We race it to the end. But yellow flag waves. We're going to overtime. Adam Westfield wrecked on the back stretch. And just like that, we reset them. We try it again. And Brian Johnson moved up from 12th to 8th. That 28 machine is on the move.
Oh, yeah. And this is what Brian needed to see. How many attempts do we got here tonight?
We're going to have 3 attempts if needed, but that's if we use all 3 attempts. And this, if we have the replay of this accident, this is a massive one. Jonathan Pittman, Adam Westfield. Pittman gets himself flipping at a short track. You don't get to see this very often, but this replay is going to be a wild one.
All right, well, we'll go back here and watch and see. Sam said, and he gets clipped, and hang on, sir. Oh, no. He barrel rolls down the backstretch. Ouch.
And lands it.
I give you a 9.5, Pittman.
He let it roll, so that's That's a loss of points. You're trying to just land, stay still, and then take a roll.
You got it, Sam. You got it, Sam. I mean, you got to give him a little bit. He did take the back tires and slap it up against the wall there, on top of the wall. So we'll give him a little bit there.
I mean, the fact that he's still
Wow.
running and the engine still allows him to keep going is impressive enough, as
Yeah.
Jonathan Pittman is still out on track, 12th position currently, even with the dramatic flare of barrel rolling down the backstretch. But all eyes now transition back up front. Vincent Sora, Cedric Hunter, and also Danny Cochran to be your top three. We're going to see the same restart once again, but the drivers that have fresh tires, the highest mover of those, I said 8th place, actually had to give that position back to Dakota Moniz. Brian Johnson back in 9th, only able to go up 3 positions, so he's going to need every single one of these green-white attempts in overtime. But we are in our first attempt. This is how it goes. We get a green flag. It's going to be a 2 laps. So if we get to the white flag, we then will race it to the end, and that will conclude our race. But if we get a yellow before we get the white flag, we then go into our second attempt. And if we get a yellow for the white flag again, we go into our third and final attempt that will end either under yellow or to the checkered where they get to race it. But for the drivers out on track, for Vincent Sora, he wants this thing to be done after the first attempt. For everyone else, they just want to make sure they can beat out the 15 any way that they can. And we'll see if it's going to be from moving the 15 or if it's going to be from somebody getting loose and bringing out another yellow. But it's going to be a dramatic flaring up here, Robert. Vincent Sora, Cedric Hunter, they're all getting ready to go green, and pace car lights are still on. What are you expecting for overtime?
I'm expecting the full send it like we seen that last restart, and beating and banging, and hopefully everybody comes out alive and we don't see a big carnage, because I got a funny feeling that we're gonna see, I don't know, man. I think we're gonna see some cars hitting the wall and flipping and banging. I just see it. Unless all these guys say, you know what, I'm getting tired. I ran our special Daytona, 6 hours juvenile diabetes event. Let's just get this over with so I can go to bed.
Absolutely. Attempt number 1 at overtime. It's here. It's now. This is it. The North Star Designs Throwback 200 at Nashville Fairgrounds. We are green. Vincent Sora, that is Cedric Hunter, are going to be side by side heading into turn number 1. The best launch the 13s had all race long. Coming out of turn number 2, still side by side. Vincent Sora, great launch for himself, giving a little bit of a chance. They have to reset. Coming into 3 and 4, we get the white flag. We race it to the end. White flag's being waved as they're coming across the line. We stay green. White's out. It's your freaky fast white flag, and it's all between these two. Vincent Sora, Cedric Hunter, side by side out of turn number 2. Sora close to the outside wall, but coming in turn number 3, Vincent Sora looks good. He's not close enough for Hunter. Vincent Sora, since 2021, now gets a win in 2022. A winner again for season 3. 15, Vincent Sora gets it done here in Nashville.
Finally, he gets that win, Sam. As you just said there, the last time this guy got a win, been a long time coming. I'm sure he's probably saying, whoa, as Danny wanted to go celebrate with his teammate and took the Hello Kitty there into the pit road. But, yeah, I mean, congratulations to Vincent. Well-deserved win. The guy battled all night long. I don't know what to say. I mean, just congratulations. It feels good to finally know, look, I finally got that win and I can celebrate it.
Absolutely. And, for this win, it's going to be so impactful for Vincent Sora, but at the same time, this is a good one just for the team themselves. Vincent Sora came into this season racing for PC Motorsports, racing with Danny Cochran, Jonathan Pittman. Those 3 drivers have worked with one another. But coming into this new year, new transition, Vincent Sora actually just got acquired to that of Category 5 Esports. So for him, joins a new team, gets his victory done, and that's why we saw the respect from Cedric Hunter and Vincent Sora. They weren't trying to take each other out, racing clean, and the 15 gets it done here tonight.
That's right, the 15, the young man finally gets that victory and gets that monkey off his back. Well, congratulations to Vincent Sora for getting a win here with the NAISCC Cup Series at Nashville. But with that being said, we will be right back here with our post-race interviews here with the top 3 here. And stick around and let's see what these guys have to say about this awesome track here and the race that they had here tonight. So stay by, and we will be right back in a short moment.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is the post-race show here for the NAISCC Track Racer Cup Series for the North Star Designs Throwback 200 at Nashville Fairgrounds. Fireworks went off. We had to go into overtime to figure out who was going to get the win, and it was Vincent Sora getting the gold. But first, we're going to start off with our third-place runner of the podium position, Mark Whitley, in the 77, to get his point of view on how tonight went. Mark, it's Sam up in the booth. You got me?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, everyone else was racing a NASCAR Cup car, but you finished out the race in a modified machine. How was it, though, racing out here tonight and almost having a chance to win it all?
Yeah, it was pretty good. I've got some practice at this track, but it's been mainly in super late models, so not too much experience in these. And made sure to run some practice for it earlier today, and it felt pretty good. When it came into practice, we were fastest in practice, and I felt pretty good. And then got the pole by a good little amount, so I thought we were going to be in a good spot. But then I didn't realize how bad that bottom is on the starts with these cars, and never could really get the track position back on same tires. Got up to the lead a little bit, but we had older tires. Came back in and thought we might have a chance to drive back up there. And then I think it was Aaron, maybe or Tom or somebody I was coming off the corner next to. They saw some trouble up there. They tried to come down, got into me, and I just locked the brakes up and hit the front and knocked the nose off of it. But surprisingly, the motor was fine. It's probably the first time it's ever happened to me in iRacing. Most time, if I breathe on it wrong, the motor gets hurt. So and pretty much the last 50 laps of that race, I was just kind of driving mad, and it surprisingly hooked up pretty good, and we got a good restart there and followed Sore for a little while, and then Cedric got back by me, and it was all three of us right there on top of each other at the end. It was pretty much anybody's game. Vincent had the advantage being up front, but I kept seeing Cedric dive it in there hard. I was really hoping one time he's going to overcook and get in there, and I could maybe get by both, but they kept it pretty clean. I felt like probably all three of our cars, I mean, we were all beat up, but we were all fast, so it was a pretty good ending. Didn't end on the green like we wanted. Had a couple late cautions. I know not really what you want to see, but we managed to get back to third and had a shot there at the end. And they were just there was only about a lane and a half you could really work with, so you really needed a lot of speed to get by somebody. And I'm just happy the cars tore up, but third place pretty good. Can't complain too much with that.
Absolutely not. And Mark, before we let you go, what are your thoughts? This is the start of our 2 weeks at Nashville. We're now going to the Nashville Super Speedway next week. How do you feeling about that track?
Yeah, I like that track a little bit. It took a while for me to get it and understand how to drive it, but the last couple of times I've been there, we've been really fast, and I'm feeling pretty confident going in there. I know had some bad luck here in the Cup Series. I'm glad we finally got that turned around, got a top three. Hopefully we can get a couple better next week and come away with a win. I know had a really bad fast car the whole night, so hopefully we can unload next week and have just as fast of one.
Well, Mark, congratulations with the top three finish in third place. And before we let you go, the floor is yours for any shout outs.
All right, first I got to give a shout out Harpoon Designs putting this awesome throwback paint scheme together. I just kind of told him on a whim, like, hey, we're doing throwback. Well, I kind of want this one. And within 2 hours, he had it made, and it looked sharper. And I know it was missing the front at the end, but it still looked pretty good. And so gotta give a big shout out to him. I know we don't have it on the car this time, but my other sponsor, Angry Duck Designs, they got a graphics website. If you want to go on there and make your own custom T-shirt, there's no order limits, so you can just go on there and order one. So if you want to go on there and check them out, it's shopangryduck.com. Big shout out to you guys putting on the broadcast. I know we had that 6-hour race last night, and that was pretty intense. And coming out here tonight, y'all always putting on a great show. It's always fun to go back and watch it, and I think fans tuning in. And then the league putting on a good race for most part. We had a lot of cautions, but we had a lot of good green flag runs, so everybody's working together. Maybe a little bit more of improvement. I had a few cautions extra, but I had a good couple runs there, so a little bit to improve on.
Well, that's going to be the 77 of Mark Whitley getting a third place finish here tonight. And Mark, congratulations on that, and good luck next week.
All right, thanks, guys.
And for Mark Whitley, it was a great run for himself. But for the man that got second place, we're going to be bringing in Cedric Hunter in the 13 Hello Kitty machine. Cedric had a long night last night with the endurance race. All of our top three did. But tonight had a lot of adversity. You had to fight over, got pushed to the back, moved your way forward, came away with a second place finish. Give us your thoughts of your adversity moving up into second place.
Yeah, it was certainly a roller coaster ride tonight. Coming into the race, I felt good. I felt not necessarily confident because I just got the track not too long ago, and I haven't ran a race here. Like tonight, I think I ran 40 laps of practice, and that was maybe accumulated of 60 in total. So I wasn't exactly sure um, where I would be in pace. I qualified fourth, which is actually super surprising. Typically, I'm not a good qualifying uh, type of person. So I usually struggle when it comes to qualifying. So we managed to get it up there, and I kind of gave everybody a warning before the race of I'm relatively new to this track, and that I probably shouldn't be in fourth. So just to watch out. And then unfortunately, I got tagged up and kind of thrown into the wall at the beginning of the race, kind of resetting the whole thing and having to race through the field. Um,
Mm.
Outside of that, got to the front, absolute roller coaster. Just I guess the polite way would be there was quite a few incidences throughout the race. That for not there was one or two for me, but the rest of the field were um, I yeah, the rest of the field was just doing I guess what they did, and it was frustrating. I'm not gonna lie. I said a few things over the mic in the sim that I probably should have just bit my tongue and not said it, but it is what it is. We had Vinny and I had one heck of a battle coming down to it, and to see another caution with about two to go, when it's just, neck to neck, and it'll just come down to whoever makes a mistake is extremely frustrating. So came home second. I want to give a huge congratulations to Vinny. He hasn't won a race since I've joined the league, so it's good to finally see him in victory lane. And what better time than 2 or 3 weeks after we uh, took him on, I guess, under the Category 5 umbrella.
Well, Cedric, I mean, you were talking about the battle lane. I know from our point of view, once it was ramping up and it looked like you were about to make a charge on the inside, finally make a pass, the caution would fly. But did you feel like the inside line really did have a chance to make a pass, or was that outside groove just that strong?
Yeah, I felt like I had an opportunity to. I definitely figured out like one and two. I had if I just went as deep as I possibly could, like went way deeper than you ever would think. It was actually working pretty well. You have to diamond that corner, so kind of go into like a diamond shape throughout the corner, just because there's a huge bump on the exit of turn two, right on the bottom of the track, like next to the yellow line, and by by just over driving the entry, you kind of go up the track, and then you're able to cut down, and you go right past the bump without hitting it, and it makes the car, it's just really really fast, and you don't have anything kind of disrupting you. So I felt like I could get there. Him pinching me and doing whatever he had to do for the win was going to be hard to try and pass him. By doing that, I had no intentions of ever getting into him. Um, Vincent and I have raced each other always clean and with respect. So uh, there was no way I was going to ruin that just for a race. Plus, I mean, me and him have been battling the entire season, where we've been kind of third and fourth in points and just bouncing around and really giving each other a hard time about it. I've been competing with him probably harder than anyone else throughout the whole season. So, again, it's really good to see him win and to come second at a race where I thought I would have probably finished outside the top 10 is really exciting.
A solid run for yourself there, Cedric. And before we let you go, the floor is yours for any shout outs.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. I want to give a huge shout out to you guys at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. As always, I'm sure you guys put on a wonderful show. Huge shout out to all the fans out there that tuned in, to the drivers and everyone that makes this possible. The drivers that actually showed up. I know it's a difficult track and there's a lot of cautions and stuff like that. It does happen. Obviously, it's frustrating, but stuff happens. So, huge shout out to the event also that we put on last night. I got word from Robert today that we raised over $1,500 for juvenile diabetes. So that was just crazy. And so huge shout out to everyone that participated, everyone that tuned in, donated, all that wonderful stuff. And to my Cat 5 teammates as well. So again, Vinny won the race. Brian had some shifting issues that kind of set him back, and Tom had a pretty consistent race. Obviously, there's a couple things that were setting him back throughout the race, but he had good pace. So good job, and congratulations to my teammates.
That's going to be Cedric Hunter in the 13 machine getting second place here tonight. But again, we stay in Nashville next week for Nashville Super Speedway, and good luck there, Cedric.
Thank you. I unfortunately won't be able to show up. I have other commitments that weekend, but I'll see you guys at Homestead hopefully. And good luck in the broadcast, and good luck to everyone in the race next week.
Well, we can't wait to see how Homestead's going to go. Last time we were there, Cedric found his way into victory lane and with the championship that night. Good luck and have a great rest of your night there, Cedric.
Thank you, man. You too.
And the man that found himself in victory lane here tonight had to take it over an overtime attempt, but we haven't seen him in victory lane in this series since all the way back in February 6th of 2021. But tonight, we get to say that he's a winner once again. Vincent Sora in victory lane. Vinny, congratulations on the win. How does this feel being back in victory lane?
It feels awesome, especially after, like you said, it's been almost a year since I've won in this league. Season 3 was not a very good season for me, and Season 4 has been a lot better. On my new team, as of recent, I won the Truck Series race on Monday with a damaged car. I won this one with a damaged car, so maybe I need to get more nose damage in all these races and I can win them. But yeah, it feels really good, especially after going on that long of a dry spell in this league.
Yeah, Vinny, we had to go see you into overtime, but you had to fend off. You were the fastest car, it seemed like, from start to finish. But whenever a driver really had a chance to fight you, it seemed like a yellow would come out. How much were the yellows helping you, or did you feel like they were hindering you here tonight?
There were certainly a few times when they helped me a little bit earlier on in the race. Brian started to catch me on 2 or 3 of the runs. At the end, he started to get me. We got a couple yellows that kind of reset us, and for the first about 15, 20 laps in a run, you're going to be gone if you're that leader. And then towards the end of the race, I didn't really want to see him except for a couple to get me back on about equal playing field on the tire strategy, which would end up getting me to the lead. But yeah, towards the end there, I didn't want to see those last 2 yellows at all. Cedric and I were having a great time battling, but I mean, it all worked out in the end.
Absolutely. Well, Vinny, we're now going to be going back to, we're going to be heading over to Nashville Super Speedway. How are you feeling about going to that track?
I feel pretty good. I ran there in the trucks and did pretty well. We've never been there in the Cup Series, but hopefully it's going to be a good race.
And we hope so too. Well, Vinny, before we let you go, the floor is yours for any shout outs.
I just want to thank everybody in the league. I want to thank you guys for broadcasting. I want to thank McConey Setup Shop, my wonderful sponsor. I want to thank all my Category 5 esports teammates: Zach Hall, Larry Yingling, Cedric Hunter, Brian Johnson, Tom Sinchak, Brandon Colley, and Nick Crawford.
That's going to be Vincent Sora in the 15, finally back in victory lane in the NAISCC Cup Series. And we'll see if he can get another one next week at Nashville Super Speedway. Good luck then, Vinny.
Thank you.
Well, Robert, what a race it was here tonight. A wild one that took us into overtime, but it certainly had a lot of sparks and flair as we had 19 cautions in total, put us into overtime. But in the end of the day, it was Vincent Sora that got the win. And I got to say, for him, this has got to be almost feeling like a championship win, especially like you said, had a dismal season 3, didn't get to victory lane there. Weren't sure if he was going to get to victory lane this season, but finally gets it done here at Nashville.
Yeah, that is correct. He finally, man. You know what? After a year, wow. I mean that is a streak that you don't want to have too often. I must say, that is that's crazy, man. I didn't think it was that long that he didn't get a win.
Well, he didn't get a win in this Cup Series. We've seen him win plenty Monday night as he is the most winningest driver in the Truck Series. But like you said, ever since Category 5 joined him with Cedric Hunter, Brian Johnson, and that crew of drivers, they kind of snuffed out Vincent Sora. Sora joins the team, and look at him now. He's in victory lane. As we take a look here at our finishing results, unofficial results, we should say Vincent Sora overtime got himself the victory. But for everyone else,
Man,
I gotta say, it was kind of surprising for a lot of these drivers here tonight on what's gonna, how different drivers didn't have the run that they wanted. But it looks like we're having some technical issues with getting the results. We had issues, throughout the night. We're also just tired. It's been a long week for ourselves, but I'll do a quick rundown for everyone hearing us. Vincent Sorg gonna be getting that of first place, and hey, look, they pop up. It's gonna be that of Cedric Hunter, Mark Whitley in third, Tom Sinchek, Danny Cochran, Brian Johnson, Dakota Moniz, that of Maurice Gilmillion, Sean Hutzstetler, and Thomas Walter gonna finish out your top 10. But some of the drivers that gave us kind of a surprise, that of Pittman really struggled for himself. Same goes for Westfield, but both able to get 11th and 12th place. Ethan Smith, very strong in the first quarter of this race in 13th, and then connection and just wrecking issues for everyone else. With Kyle Rochelle getting 16th place, I think that's probably the biggest surprise from my eyes of all these drivers. But Robert, I got to say, for the fairgrounds, Nashville Fairgrounds, what a show. Fireworks went off, went into overtime, and it was Vincent Sorg getting the win. What a race it was, even with its 19 cautions. Oh, man, we're just happy that it finally came to an end by the end.
Oh, amen on that, man. What a show though. Like you said here, we have Vincent Sora. We just noted on there. February 2021, the last time he got a win. Finally, he gets that win. Almost a year without getting a win here in the Cup Series. That is a streak that he definitely doesn't want to have again. And I'm sure he's like, well, thank God I finally got that win and got that off. And we'll see if he can carry that momentum on to Nashville next week when we go to the Super Speedway Series here at Nashville. We're going to be sticking around here in Nashville. Me and Sam are going to be going down to the country lane and maybe doing some disco dancing. I don't know if Sam dances. Do you dance, Sam?
It's a hazard. I'm so tall, it's a hazard if I start dancing. My arms, my legs, it's dangerous. As a 6'9" giant, it's not safe.
It's okay. Instead of staying 6 feet away from each other, we'll just do 20 feet. How's that sound? But all right. Well, we'll be, like I said, we'll be at Nashville next week here with the NAISCC Cup Series here. And we'll see if Vincent Soar can, keep that streak going, or if we see Cedric Hunter, Mark Whitley, Tom, and some of the other fellow drivers that are going to come out here and, try to get that win and maybe lock themselves into the playoffs, because it's coming down to the nitty-gritty, ladies and gentlemen. We do got the playoffs here soon starting, and it's going to be very interesting, and we've seen how that all played out last year with Cedric Hunter winning at Homestead. And like you said, Cedric Hunter won't be here next week, but he will be at Homestead in 2 weeks. And Cedric Hunter knows how to run Homestead. That I will tell you, ladies and gentlemen. So make sure you stay tuned and see what he does in 2 weeks. But our next televised broadcast will be tomorrow night with Sim Racing Unleashed as we go live at 7:50. So make sure you tune in tomorrow night here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. And if you don't mind, like this stream, give us a subscribe. We do much appreciate it. And make sure you share this stream and all our other streams that we have here under our platform to your favorite social media platforms. We do much appreciate that. But until tomorrow night, 7:50 with Sim Racing Unleashed from Nashville Fairground Mall. Well, it's not a mall, but Nashville. Me and Sam like to say, God bless everybody. We love yous all. Peace out.